When Leo was diagnosed with brain cancer, Serena Sterling was out partying with Julian Ford. I begged her to come to the hospital to see our son. She refused, turning her back on us to accompany her childhood friend abroad. If he wants to die, let him die. Don't use that to threaten me. Later, when Leo passed away, I finally asked for a divorce to set her free. That was when Serena Sterling fell to her knees, weeping and begging for my forgiveness. On the 8th day of the Cold War between Serena and me, Leo suddenly collapsed at the school gate. I was terrified and rushed him to the hospital immediately. I thought it was just a cold or a fever, but the doctor's words made my knees buckle. Acute brain cancer. It's already in the intermediate stage. In that instant, I heard the sound of my world collapsing. My child was cute, lively, and only 4 years old. How could he have such a severe cancer? Based on the current progression, he has at most half a month. The doctor couldn't bear to say it, but he had to tell me the truth. He handed me the diagnostic report. Seeing the words intermediate stage brain cancer, my eyes blurred with hot tears. My child, my Leo, only had 2 weeks to live. My brain felt like it had turned to paste, my thoughts in chaotic disarray. In the end, only that one sentence remained. I could desperately grab the doctor's hand, begging him to help me think of a way. If we could just find Dr. Vance, if we could just save Leo. I would do anything. It's not that I won't help you, but in this country, Dr. Vance has the most experience and the best success rate with brain issues. Isn't your wife CEO Sterling? Hurry up and get her to pull some strings. There might still be hope. I was sweating profusely from anxiety and only reacted when I heard the doctor's words. Yes, Serena Sterling was New York's youngest female CEO, listed on the Forbes 30 Under 30 at 27, frequently interviewed by financial magazines. She was knowledgeable and well-connected. She would definitely have a way. With trembling fingers, I dialed Serena's number. After a long series of rings, an impatient female voice answered. What is it now? I'm very busy. Something happened at home. You need to come to the hospital right now. Only after the words left my mouth did I realize my voice was trembling uncontrollably. What could possibly happen? Ethan Hayes, are you done yet? Is it fun to use family matters just to be jealous? I told you Julian and I are just childhood friends. He just got back to the States, and I have to help him. I'm very busy lately. Don't annoy me. After saying that, she hung up directly, choking back the words I wanted to say. When I called again, the phone showed she was on another call. Serena had blocked me. The night seemed shockingly cold. Through the gap in the window beside the hospital bed, the cold wind nearly knocked me off my feet. Daddy, why are you standing there alone? Where's Mommy? A soft, childish voice came from the bed. I turned to look. Leo was lying there. I didn't know when he had woken up, but he was looking up at me. I forced a smile and practiced the familiar routine of soothing Leo. Mommy is working overtime. She said she'll come back and buy Leo a gift. It's her favorite Stitch. Is Mommy not coming again? It's okay. Mommy is busy with work. Leo is fine with just Stitch. Leo's eyes dimmed, but then he immediately smiled sweetly, making excuses for Serena. Disappointed too many times, the 4-year-old already understood early on. Overtime meant not seeing Mommy. My heart ached, and I couldn't help but pull him into my arms. So Leo has to be good. We'll treat the illness properly in the hospital. When you get discharged, Mommy will bring Stitch back. Although it was painful, I held him and coaxed him until Leo closed his eyes in my arms. He was so well-behaved it hurt. Stroking the child's head, I couldn't understand it. Such a good child. Why didn't Serena like him? Or rather, she used to like him. It was just that Julian Ford had returned. She had long since thrown his father and son to the back of her mind. After settling Leo, I went home late at night, braving the cold wind. The house was pitch black. Serena hadn't returned yet. I walked into the kitchen and skillfully washed rice to make porridge. Serena had stomach issues, so when she worked late, I usually made her soothing rice porridge. I had been doing it for 6 years. It had long become a habit. My phone pinged. I clicked it open and saw Julian's Instagram story. There was a selfie of him eating at a 5-star hotel, and in the bottom corner was the side profile of a woman. The caption read, "Springtime and you are both here. Grateful for destiny." My heart trembled. Just seeing half a side profile, I knew. That was my wife, Serena Sterling. So when Leo was diagnosed, she was on a date with Julian, and because of that, she hung up on me. Pain and bitterness intertwined. For a moment, I couldn't sort out my thoughts. I clearly knew Serena cared about Julian, but facing that care directly, I was still somewhat afraid. I didn't dare admit, nor did I want to admit, that the Serena who had been passionately in love with me and bore my child now had someone else in her heart. My heart swelled with acidity as I forced myself to look at that photo. The photographer took it well, revealing every bit of Serena's beauty and happiness. That expression of happiness. I hadn't seen it in 2 years. Thinking back in the days, when did it start? Between us, only arguments remained. It seemed to start from the moment Julian returned to the country. Serena was always by Julian's side without boundaries, helping him with his startup, accompanying him to doctor visits, unwilling to even return to our small home. Leo was always crying for his mom during that time. I angrily questioned Serena, but she accused me of being suspicious and dirty-minded, thinking of their pure childhood friendship as something sordid. Because of this, we erupted into arguments from time to time. Until last month, on Leo's birthday, Serena actually stayed out all night with Julian. Unable to bear it, I went to her company and had a huge fight. We fell into a cold war from then on, ignoring each other. When I took Leo to school, Serena wasn't up yet. After I coaxed Leo to sleep, she was working overtime at the company again. Calculating carefully, Leo hadn't seen his mom for a month. No wonder he mentioned her at the hospital. The click of the door brought my thoughts back. Serena was back. Seeing me waiting in the living room, awake, the expression on her face was mocking. "Oh, why are you waiting for me here today?" In fact, in 5 years of marriage, I waited for her almost every night. It only stopped after the Cold War last month. Before, every time we fought, I was the one to bow my head and offer an olive branch. We hadn't come this far easily. I didn't want to lose this hard-won family. But last time at Serena's company, what she said was truly too harsh. "Ethan, aren't you embarrassed? Coming to my company to make a scene? Are you a shrew? Can't you learn from Julian? He's a company CEO, and you're just a salesman. You have the nerve to compare yourself to him? You tell me, how does that compare?" One was the full name, Ethan Hayes. The other was the affectionate Julian. The distance was so clear. The disdain and contempt in Serena's eyes that day alarmed me. She looked down on me, feeling I was far inferior to Julian Ford. I finally understood this point. A man's self-esteem and pride made me unwilling to shamelessly bow my head and admit fault again. So Serena became even angrier. She was a person with high self-esteem. If I didn't bow my head, she would absolutely never soften. We have been deadlocked like this until now. But now Leo was seriously ill. No matter the reason for the argument, we as a couple should stand together and plan for the child. I went to the kitchen and served her a bowl of porridge. It was the seafood flavor Serena liked. She sat in the chair, staring at the bowl, stunned for a moment, and ultimately didn't spew any more harsh words. "Listen to me first. Something happened to Leo. Tomorrow, take a leave of absence and come to the hospital with me. You want to trick me again? Last time, you and Lucas conspired to trick me into coming home. Now you're using our son to act." Serena put down the bowl, crossed her arms, and looked at me with mockery. I explained anxiously. "Last time, Lucas mistook my allergy for a serious illness. That's why he urgently called you back. But this time is different. Leo is really sick. You are his mother. You can't ignore him." Serena was furious. With a cold face, she knocked the porridge over. Some hot porridge splashed onto me, the heat making my heart tremble. "Ethan, do you have no shame? You dare to lie about the child being sick? Is there anything you won't do? Can 2 words of truth come out of your mouth? Lying back and forth, who can believe you?" Her tone was filled with disgust and disdain, her eyes staring at me, overlapping eerily with the day she cursed me out at the company. She was my wife. Why couldn't she believe me once? Why joke about something as big as our child being sick? Looking at Serena's scornful eyes, my anger burned all the way from my chest to my brain. Finally, I couldn't help but shout back. "And you? Didn't you lie about working overtime when you were actually out messing around with Julian Ford?" As soon as the words left my mouth, both of us froze. Serena turned her head away, and then came a deeper anger. "We went out to discuss business. You think I'm like you, circling around the child every day, doing nothing productive?" Even at this point, she was still making excuses. I took a deep breath, suppressing the surging rage in my chest. "Say whatever you want. In short, Leo is really sick. No matter what you have going on, you're coming to the hospital with me tomorrow." Serena stood up, pointing at me and cursing. "Act. Keep acting. Leo was fine yesterday, and today you say he's critically ill. Aren't you afraid of cursing his lifespan? If he really dies, it'll be because you jinxed him." My heart skipped a beat. Leo's illness was so severe, yet I hadn't dared to think of that word until now. I didn't expect it to be spoken so lightly by Serena. If something really happened to Leo, if something happened to him. My eyes turned bloodshot, and the gaze I fixed on Serena held a hint of madness. Looking at her face, which didn't take it seriously, I showed dominance for the first time. I stepped forward, grabbed her wrist, and said coldly, "If you really consider yourself Leo's mother, come to the hospital with me tomorrow. If you don't save him, he really might die. If something happens to Leo, I'm never finished with you. Taking a sharp step back, Serena threw off my hand. If he dies, he dies. I have a partnership meeting tomorrow. I don't have time to watch your drama. With a loud bang, she went straight out the door, not even noticing Leo wasn't at home. I collapsed onto the sofa, my chest heaving violently, then helplessly covered my hot, stinging eyes with the back of my hand. I really didn't understand. We got married happily. In just a few years, how did this home, this person, become like this? She was tired of it, ultimately. Even Leo's critical illness couldn't keep her. A hoarse, bitter laugh echoed in the room, and salty tears couldn't help but flow from the corners of my eyes. I finally understood why everyone talked about the 7-year itch. Its power was unexpectedly this great. Thinking about Leo's surgery, I turned and called my best friend, Lucas Cole. Can you lend me some money? About $500,000. I need it immediately. It's urgent. Why do you suddenly need so much money? Serena represents the Sterling fortune. How can you be short of money? They all thought that after marrying the only daughter of the Sterling family, I must have made it. How could I have no money? But in fact, our finances were separate. I couldn't bring myself to lower my head and ask my wife for money. So from marriage until now, the only money I had was the $40,000 or $50,000 I saved from working. It was far from enough for Leo's surgery. Lucas and I had been friends for years. There was nothing to hide from him. After thinking about it, I couldn't help but tell the truth, my voice faintly trembling with tears. Lucas, I really need money. Leo is sick. Serena is cheating and won't go to the hospital to see him. My savings aren't enough, and the real estate is all notarized, so I can't sell it. Don't worry, I'll sell my diamond ring and give you all the money from it later. On the other end of the phone, Lucas furiously cursed that Serena wasn't human and promised to think of a way for me. Don't panic. We've been friends for so many years. How could I not help you? Give me one night. I'll pool this money for you. Lucas's family was in media and e-commerce. He was a bit of a trust fund kid. For Leo's surgery fees, asking around the circle, I could only ask him. Helplessly putting down the phone, I suddenly felt ridiculous. Married to Serena for so many years, everyone said I was a freeloader, yet I couldn't even take out the surgery fees for my child. Truly a failure. And Serena. Lucas was my friend, and even he was willing to help me. But Serena wouldn't. How laughable. The next day, I took the $500,000 on the card to the hospital, planning to make preparations on 2 fronts. Finding Dr. Vance would be best. If Serena refused to help, Leo's condition brooked no delay. The surgery had to happen next week. I was Leo's biological father. From birth, Serena was busy with work. It was me, turning day into night, who took care of the child. I watched him learn to walk, learn to chase after me calling daddy, and smile sweetly at me. That was the softest part of my heart, my greatest love. If Serena wouldn't care for him, I had to. The doctor sighed as he processed the paperwork for me. It's not that we can't operate here, but the success rate is only 50%. If you can get Dr. Vance, this percentage could be 20% higher. If there's a way, it's best to strive for it. I couldn't help but smile bitterly. Yes, I knew it would be better to invite Dr. Vance, but Serena wouldn't help. She wouldn't even come home. What could I do? For the first time, I began to regret leaving the semiconductor industry, which had such bright prospects, just because of a word from Serena. If I had money and status like Serena, would I have been able to hire Dr. Vance? Seeing my gloomy expression, the doctor probably understood my situation. If you really can't contact him, our hospital will do its absolute best. He patted my shoulder and left. I stared at the medical record in my hand, dazed. The image of Leo lying on the hospital bed, his small face pale, appeared in my mind. After a moment of internal struggle, I decided to go find Serena one more time. The doctor was right. We had to do our absolute best. Moreover, this was a matter of life and death. Leo was still waiting for me in the hospital bed. Even if it could raise Leo's surgery success rate by a sliver, it was good. At noon that day, I carefully prepared a few dishes Serena usually loved, packed them into a lunchbox, and brought them to her. Arriving at the top floor of Sterling Corp., Serena's secretary, Emily, walked towards me. Seeing it was me, a flash of disdain passed through her eyes. I'm sorry, CEO Sterling gave orders. Outsiders are not allowed in. Emily had climbed up from the bottom step by step. She always thought I was a moocher riding on Serena's coattails. Plus, with Serena loathing me more and more over the past 2 years, Emily followed suit and became increasingly cold toward me. Little did they know, we had a prenuptial agreement regarding property. I didn't get a cent of Serena's money, and the real estate was all in her name. I had nothing, yet I bore the name of a freeloader for nothing. Clenching the lunchbox in my hand, I tried my best to straighten my back. I'm here to find Serena for an important matter. I must speak to her face to face. Then do you have an appointment? If not, according to the rules, we can't let you in. She blocked me after an argument. I really have an urgent matter. Then I'm sorry. CEO Sterling personally ordered that no outsiders. I am her legal husband. Who exactly is the outsider? Emily froze, then turned and stepped aside from me. I sighed inwardly at how ridiculous I was, having to report to her subordinate just to find my own wife. Serena had said she had an important meeting today. I planned to wait for her in the lounge. But just as I walked to the door, I saw a handsome side profile I was extremely familiar with inside. It was actually Julian Ford. I stood there dumbfounded, watching the two of them nestle together in extreme intimacy. Julian glanced in my direction, then lowered his head to flirt with Serena. My wife, who had had a huge fight with me just last night, now lowered her head shyly and tied his tie for him, her face wearing a gentle expression I hadn't seen in a long time. A person's subconscious reaction cannot lie. I knew what Serena looked like when she loved me, and I knew clearly what her expression meant right now. Since Julian returned to the States, she had never cared about my daily life, let alone such an intimate act as tying a tie. Even if I actively requested it, wanted to bring us closer, she would always dodge coldly and impatiently. Or she would say with a frown, I manage such a huge corporation. Where would I find the time to do these things for you? Get the maid to do it. It's all the same. But I loved her. How could letting the maid do it be the same? Besides, if she really didn't have time, how come she suddenly had time facing Julian now? My heart felt like it was soaking in sour wine. Oh, Ethan's here. Come on in. As if suddenly seeing me, Julian nodded and beckoned me in, like he was the owner. The expression on Serena's face was very ugly. She even stood up somewhat guiltily. Did she also know that her current behavior was inappropriate? What are you doing here? Serena looked up, changing back to an impatient expression. Clearly, she was the one cheating, yet she was so self-righteous. I handed over the lunchbox in my hand. After thinking for a moment, I decided to show weakness. I made this for you. Eat it while it's hot. Serena bit her lip watching me, unable to speak for a moment. This scene seemed to return to when we were first married. Serena would whine that she couldn't eat takeout, so I would personally cook and bring it to her every noon. Back then, everyone in the company teased that we were a model couple. In just 5 years, we seemed to have nothing left but arguments. Julian broke the silence. He smiled and opened the lunchbox, looking as high-spirited as he did in high school. I've heard Ethan is a great cook for a long time. Now I'm in for a treat. Saying that, he waved to Serena. Serena, come taste this quickly. It has your favorite sweet and sour ribs. He was so natural, it made me look like the outsider. True, they were childhood sweethearts. If the Ford family business hadn't moved abroad back then, and Julian hadn't followed them, maybe I wouldn't be in the picture at all. Serena went over obediently, lowered her head, and took the chopsticks. She didn't speak. I seized the moment to bring it up. After eating, come with me to the hospital to see Leo. The doctor said his illness requires surgery as soon as possible. You haven't seen the child in a long time. Leo misses you very much. Serena suddenly stood up, violently throwing the chopsticks at me. Are you done yet? How long are you going to keep lying? I suppressed my anger. It's true. You've been with Julian Ford all the time. You don't know Leo's situation. He has brain cancer. It's very serious. We need to find a specialist as soon as possible. Hearing this, Serena suddenly looked up, staring at me dead on. Then, a sneer of realization appeared on her face. You think if you say this, I'll believe you? In the end, you just can't stand that I'm with Julian. My breathing gradually became heavy. My wife was fooling around with another man. How could I possibly stand it? If our family was really in her heart, how could she stay out all night without any boundaries? Don't be anxious. Just listen to Ethan. Maybe there really is an emergency? Julian advised from his side, even patting Serena's hand soothingly. He pulled Serena to sit on the sofa. Even though she was angry, she obediently complied. Watching this made my eyes burn even more. Knowing this was Julian deliberately showing that Serena was closer to him, I still couldn't help but mock. You have time to be lovey-dovey with your childhood friend here, but you're unwilling to go see Leo. Serena, are you fit to be a mother? Serena looked up at me, clear annoyance in her eyes. Then get out. If you can't stand us, let's divorce. You think I ignore Leo? I just can't stand you. I can't stand a useless man like you clinging to me. If Leo wasn't your son, I would absolutely never ignore him. My heart shook. Serena hated me to the point of ignoring our child's critical illness. I was provoked into trembling all over, my eyes bloodshot. I wanted to rage, wanted to fight Serena, even wanted to brawl with Julian. But I couldn't get Dr. Vance, so I could only lower my head. Divorce is fine, as long as you agree to find Dr. Vance, the brain cancer specialist, to save Leo. Serena often had this threat on her lips. Whenever she was angry, she threatened divorce. Every time, it ended with me bowing my head and admitting fault without any dignity. But this time, I suddenly wanted to let us go. If Serena wanted to be with Julian, let her, as long as she would save Leo. She looked up at me in disbelief. You dare mention divorce to me? Serena's face was full of mockery and disdain, the malice in her eyes nearly overflowing. What are you to mention divorce to me? Someone low-class like you. If we divorce, it's me dumping you. Leo is sick, and instead of saving him, you, the father, come begging me. How useless can you be? No sincerity at all? You want me to help, so I help. Serena's mouth opened and closed in front of me, criticizing me as worthless right in front of Julian. I didn't want to hear these words, but those words were like poisoned daggers. Every word smashed into my heart. Clearly, back then Serena personally said that me taking care of her and Leo was enough. Now she despised me for being useless. Actually, I graduated from an Ivy League university. When I first graduated, many good companies offered me positions. I didn't have to live so tightly at all. It was Serena who whined that one person focusing on a career in the family was enough. So I chose a stable 9 to 5 job to facilitate taking care of the family. In exchange, I got contempt and neglect. Seeing me standing there, pale from the verbal lashing, the corner of Julian's lips curled slightly. Don't talk about him anymore. Men care about face. Does he? If he cared about face, he wouldn't be standing here like a post. He might as well go back early. Before his voice fell, I numbly knelt down toward her. My knees hit the floor heavily, the sound shockingly loud. So what if she didn't love me? So what if we divorced? I didn't care anymore. I didn't care. I just wanted Leo. Serena's face went completely black. She stood up in shock, quickly glanced at Julian, and then pointed at my face, screaming abuse. Do you have no shame, Ethan Hayes? Are you a man? I think you're crazy. You really don't know what disgrace is. Julian pretended to stop her from the side, but in reality, he didn't move a hand. I knelt on the ground. My face was indifferent, but deep in my heart, something clearly disappeared with this kneeling, along with my love for Serena and our happiness, gone without a trace. I beg you, come to the hospital with me to see the child. He really is sick. Even if you don't care about me, please help our child. I looked up at her and asked softly, is that sincere enough? Serena froze, her hand pointing at me, trembling uncontrollably. She scanned my face up and down, her brows furrowed tight, just as she was about to say something. Right then, Julian next to her suddenly grabbed her hand. Serena, I'm having an attack. Take me to the hospital, quick. His face turned beet red, looking like he couldn't breathe. Julian had asthma. Apparently, he contracted it abroad. Serena's attention was immediately drawn away. She anxiously rummaged through Julian's bag for medicine. Where's the asthma medicine from before? Where is your medicine? Hospital. In the hospital. Julian tugged at her hand, his face gradually turning blue. No longer caring to say anything to me, Serena turned to grab her keys to leave. I hurriedly stood up and grabbed her arm. What about Leo? Aren't you going to come with me to see him? Whatever. If he dies, he dies. Didn't you see Julian is having an attack? Get lost. She waved her hand and shoved me aside, anxiously supporting Julian as they left. Having knelt on the ground for a while, my knees were already weak and my center of gravity unstable. Shoved violently by Serena, I crashed into the table beside me. The lunchbox on top fell down. Along with the food and sauce, it splattered all over me. Just like my marriage to Serena, a complete mess. No matter how carefully decorated, how beautiful it was at the start, in the end, its fate was just to be thrown in the trash. In that case, was my effort meaningful? Sitting slumped on the carpet edge where sauce flowed, looking at the lunchbox I painstakingly prepared at noon, now turned into a wretched sight, I suddenly felt very tired, exhausted in body and mind. Married to Serena for so long, I always felt love could overcome all difficulties. As long as I could be with her, there was nothing to fear. Only, I never thought about what I would do if Serena didn't want to walk with me anymore. What could I do? In the empty room, a sudden crisp sound rang out, the sound of a fist hitting a glass surface. Then a whimper gradually spilled out. After quickly pulling myself together and changing clothes, I rushed to the hospital. Leo was lying there alone. I instructed Lucas to help me watch him for a while, but I was still somewhat worried. What? Serena didn't come with you. I kept a wooden face and shook my head. Lucas sneered, leaving you here alone to watch the child while she runs off on a date. She's really capable of anything. If she likes Julian Ford so much, why did she insist on marrying you back then? I gave a bitter laugh. Stop talking. How is Leo? Lucas stopped talking, replying grumpily. How else could he be? Pitifully well-behaved. Looking at Leo, I told Lucas to go back first. I had to tell the doctor about Leo's situation. Since Serena refused to help, Leo's illness could only be treated at this hospital as soon as possible. Don't worry too much, there's still hope. This child has a very strong will to live, and his condition is stable. Once the results of the final test come out tomorrow, we'll prepare for surgery. Listening to the doctor, I felt a bit more at ease. Unable to contact DR. Vance, if worst came to worst, we had to choose this hospital. Leo's illness couldn't be delayed. The doctor said brain cancer cases were most sensitive to physical bumps and emotional issues, so surgery had to be soon. Going downstairs to pay Leo's fees, I actually saw Serena and Julian. They were standing outside the pharmacy window. Serena was meticulously instructing Julian on how to take every type of medicine. Her attitude was surprisingly gentle. No time to see Leo, yet here she was guarding Julian. Seeing me approach, Serena frowned. Are you done? Do you have no shame following us here? Did she think I was a stalker? I took a deep breath and handed the payment slip to the nurse. Don't flatter yourself. A family member is hospitalized. Your parents are in your hometown. How could they be hospitalized? Use your brain when you lie. This person, no ambition, but such a big temper. Serena opened her mouth just to scold, but Julian stared at the medical record in my hand, his eyes flickering. Exhausted, I didn't want to tangle with Serena anymore. I turned directly and left, leaving Serena stomping her feet behind me. Julian comforted her hypocritically. Don't be angry. It's nothing that Ethan followed us. Maybe he was worried about me. What good intentions could he have? Who knows what he wants to do? With my back to them, I thought I would be jealous, would be angry. But no, my state of mind was unexpectedly stable, leaving only some residual bitterness. Maybe because there were early signs, or maybe because I had seen this scene too many times in the past 2 years and was numb. I even felt that after leaving Serena, my emotions were much more stable. Let it be, I only wanted Leo. I only cared about my child. As for Serena, whether she wanted a divorce or to be with Julian, it was up to her. The next morning, I prepared to go back to pack clothes and documents, letting the caregiver watch Leo. Daddy, after the surgery today, I can leave the hospital, right? Leo had tubes attached to his body. His withered little hand held mine. In just a few short days, the round, healthy child had been tortured out of shape by cancer. His face was so thin only a pair of big eyes remained, looking at me eagerly right now. I nodded, forcing a smile to comfort him. Yes, the doctor said as long as Leo finishes the surgery and removes the bug in your head, we can go back. Is that so? Then if the bugs are removed, Mommy will come to see me? Leo hasn't seen Mommy for a very, very long time. Leo held my hand and asked. Still a 4-year-old child, yet he already knew to use very, very long to describe time. Perhaps due to the special circumstances and maternal bond, Leo missed his mother more and more. But Serena, how could she remember she still had a son? I paused, looking sadly at Leo's expectant eyes, and finally lied. Yes, after leaving the hospital, Leo will be able to see Mommy. She is waiting for you at home. After Leo was discharged, he would definitely know what Serena had done. When that time comes, he will definitely be heartbroken. A mother who only brings pain and tears is better off not having one. While pondering, I made a decision in my heart. After Leo finishes surgery, I will propose divorce, and then fight with all my might for the child's custody. Perhaps leaving Serena is the better choice for us father and son. Consider it setting each other free. After talking to Leo for a while, I turned and went home. The doctor said Leo's condition was very stable, and his physical constitution was good. After this surgery, if the cancer cells didn't recur, the probability of recovery was over 50%. Leo was only 4. His life had just begun. No matter what I did wrong before, or how I angered the gods, let the heavens punish me. As long as Leo's life could be saved, he didn't understand anything yet. I prayed in my heart. Any god, as long as they could hear, would do. But my luck had always been rotten. Just as I finished packing, the hospital called me, saying Leo suddenly had an attack, and the situation was very serious. In an instant, my mind went blank. Without time to think, I drove and rushed toward the hospital. The image of Leo lying on the hospital bed flashed incessantly in my mind, irritating my eyes until they were bloodshot. The doctor said Leo's illness was most sensitive to turbulence. During this time, I didn't even dare to speak loudly. Now, he suddenly had an attack. What happened? Would it affect the surgery later? Thinking of a mess of things, I stumbled to the operating room. The green light of surgery in progress was flashing there, making me dizzy. A nurse hurriedly supported me. Family member, stay calm. Leo has already been sent for emergency rescue. The monitoring equipment showed Leo's heart rate fluctuated greatly all of a sudden. The doctors have already started rescue attempts immediately. I calmed down, only then realizing my whole body was trembling uncontrollably, my arms even twitching unconsciously. Why was it so sudden? My voice was hoarse. Looking in the direction of the operating room, I forced myself to stay rational and ask. The air here seemed very thin. Every breath took all my strength. After you left this morning, a man entered the ward. Afterward, Leo had an attack. The caregiver explained to me stammeringly. I didn't know who that man was, but he said he was your friend and even said your name, so I let him in. He just said a few sentences and left. He even watched videos on his phone with Leo for a while. My friend? Besides Lucas, who else in the city knew about Leo? My brain was chaos. I stood there staring blankly, thinking, but I came up with nothing. Leo had been sick for a very short time. Not many people knew even now. Soon, the doctor came out covered in sweat, occupying all my thoughts. I stared at him without blinking, my hands unconsciously clenched into fists. The doctor sighed, helpless. My condolences. The attack was too fast. We did our best. Behind him, someone pushed a gurney out. On it was a small figure covered by a white cloth. From small to large, it slowly occupied my entire field of vision. I suddenly felt unable to stand. My pupils constricted. My breathing became rapid. He said condolences? What did that mean? Was that my Leo? I couldn't figure it out, but uncontrollably trembling, I walked to the side of the gurney. Underneath was that familiar little face, sharp chin, long eyelashes. This was my child. He clearly looked like he was just asleep. How could the doctor say he died? I knelt beside the gurney, holding Leo's hand and rubbing it incessantly, but that patch of skin still grew colder and harder until it lost all warmth. No matter how I rubbed, it was still icy cold, lifeless. My Leo, the child who would sleep obediently even when sick, was gone. Right before my eyes. I wanted to open my mouth to call him, but my throat and all the muscles in my body seemed choked by something. Not a single word could come out. My brain spun. The next moment, boundless darkness and pain enveloped me. The last thing I heard was the doctor's sharp shout. Family member fainted. Emergency aid. When I woke up, Lucas was already by my side. He sighed. You did your best. Don't think so much. Take good care of yourself. You still have your parents. I looked up at him, my eyes lacking focus. This morning, did you come to see Leo? No, working overtime at the company. I went back. I turned my gaze away, staring blankly, thinking about who else knew about this. But I left a micro camera before. Lucas leaned in and whispered, you know the quality of caregivers varies. Afraid she wouldn't take good care of Leo, I secretly placed one. My vision focused. I stared at him tightly, repeating, microcamera. Yeah, just in case. Saying that, Lucas took the electronic eye out of the plush toy at the head of the bed and connected it to the computer. We both recognized the person who appeared at Leo's bedside yesterday. Isn't this Julian Ford? What's he doing here? Lucas muttered, then looking at my face, his expression became dry. Julian was Serena's affair partner. What business did he have finding my child? My eyes were bloodshot. I unconsciously clenched my hands, watching the handsome man on the screen, smiling as he approached Leo. I'm your Uncle Julian. I'm here to see you on behalf of your mother today. Your mother? She's resting at my place. She's been with me for the past few days. They should be divorcing soon. Your mom didn't want to come see you, but I should fulfill some responsibility for her. Look, Mommy is smiling so happily. Leo, don't blame Mommy. She just doesn't like your daddy. So naturally, she doesn't like you either. The camera recorded the overflowing malice in the man's eyes. He did it on purpose, deliberately revealing the truth to a child sick in bed. I didn't know if this was showing off or a demonstration, but the child's sobbing could be faintly heard. Daddy and Mommy are divorcing? Is Leo a burden? Who knows? Your daddy loves you so much, he would save you no matter what. Before, he even knelt to beg someone to save your life. The caregiver came in from outside. Julian took the opportunity to stand up, gave a couple of instructions, and left. The next moment, the machine by Leo's bed started ringing. He was stimulated into an attack. At the end of the video, several nurses ran in anxiously to push him to emergency. Julian Ford, this bastard. I'm going to settle the score with him. Why drag a child into adult matters? Lucas couldn't watch anymore. He turned off the video and was about to rush out. I grabbed him. My chest was choked so hard I wanted to vomit blood, but damned reason still reminded me. With just these few sentences, he won't admit it. Serena will protect him too. She's the child's biological mother. I don't believe Serena can remain indifferent knowing the news of Leo's death. Ignoring my prevention, Lucas called Serena. The sound on that end was very noisy, with periodic announcements urging boarding. Lucas spoke very fast. Did you know Leo passed away? It's because of Julian Ford. We are all at the hospital now. If you come now, you can still see Leo one last time. Then came Serena's mockery. What? Wasn't tricking me last time enough? You want to try again? What benefit did Ethan promise you to make you speak for him like this? Cursing a child to die. Aren't you afraid of bad karma? Julian had an attack. Where'd I find time to go back to the hospital for the child? Have you stayed with Ethan so long that even you became this stupid? Lucas, Serena, are you insane? The child is dead, and you can say this kind of thing. You are his mother. Serena, Ethan is his father too. If he's dead, let Ethan go see him. Don't look for me. I have to send Julian abroad for treatment. I don't have time to argue with you. I'll settle accounts with you when I get back. After speaking, Serena hung up. She must have boarded the plane with Julian. I sat on the bed, the expression on my face pale and despairing. Not for Serena. For our child. Leo was so well-behaved and obedient. He should have been born into a happy family and grown up happily. It was I who didn't take good care of him. It was I who dragged my feet, not divorcing Serena. And it was I who indulged Serena in bringing a wolf into the house. Only causing Leo such misery. Thinking of this, I slapped myself hard. Lucas panicked and pulled my hand. What are you doing? It's not your fault. Serena will regret it sooner or later. I grabbed Lucas's arm backhand, my face gray but revealing madness. Lucas, do me a favor. I must make these two pay the price. A week later, I held a funeral for Leo. Serena was abroad and had changed to a new SIM card. She still didn't know the news of Leo's death. At the funeral, I stood at the very front in a trance, staring blankly at the urn on the altar. My heart felt like a piece had been hollowed out. I couldn't even stand steadily. 7 days, and I still couldn't accept the fact that Leo was dead. The house still maintained the same arrangement. The guests behind me were buzzing with discussion, voices drifting into my ears bit by bit. Even the funeral is hosted by him alone. Where's CEO Sterling? Want to find Julian Ford, obviously. That guy is the white moonlight. This one was just to deal with family pressure to marry. True, CEO Sterling is the president of a listed company. This guy is just a rural freeloader. He doesn't match her at all. Just pitiful for the child. I heard he was usually very well-behaved and sensible. Yes, Leo was famously well-behaved. In the hospital, the nurses all said Leo was the strongest child there. Even if he had to be pricked with needles countless times a day, even if he would subconsciously cringe, knowing these nurses were doing it for his own good, Leo would look up and smile at them, saying thank you every time. But such a good child didn't even make it past his 5th birthday. Perhaps this was the price for me, insisting on salvaging this marriage. The guests behind came in wave after wave, until finally, Serena's mother stepped over in high heels and slapped me across the face. You said you take good care of Serena and Leo. Is this how you take care of them? Lucas jumped out from the side to stop her. Why are you hitting people? Besides, if Serena's adulterer hadn't come to the hospital, would Leo have had an attack? Full of lies. Serena was dead set on marrying him back then. How could she easily cheat? Eyes flashing, the noble woman sneered self-righteously. She had always looked down on me. If not for Serena, I wouldn't even be able to enter the Sterling family door. I saw early on you had no future. Only Serena, thinking about true love, insisted on being with you back then. Even if she really cheated, it's because you're useless. I'm telling you in advance, if you two divorce, I won't give you a single cent. After cursing at the sky and earth, Serena's mother left triumphantly. I stood dazed in place, feeling only ridiculous and absurd. Clearly, I worked hard to manage the marriage, worked hard to protect Leo, yet I still ended up in this state. I smiled bitterly in my heart. Actually, Serena's mother really overthought it. Long before the marriage, Serena and I had notarized our property. Even if we really divorced, I would leave with nothing. Serena wouldn't lose anything and could still fly away with Julian. Only me, pointed at and cursed as a freeloader, humiliated by Serena, and then losing my only child. This was the only thing I got from this marriage. Suddenly, Lucas's phone rang. He took a call, then spoke to me hesitantly. Someone saw Serena return to the country today. A few trust fund kids are holding a welcome banquet for them there. They referred to Serena and Julian's circle of rich second generations. I could never squeeze in. Or rather, that circle had always looked down on me. The ones attending the funeral today were all friends from my side and a few small business partners. Those rich kids always looked down on me, a lower-class person. After Serena cheated, they despised me even more and consequently didn't care about Leo's situation either. My child was lying here cold and alone, while his biological mother was holding some welcome banquet for another man. Serena, how dare she? Turning around, I grabbed the car keys to go out. Lucas stopped me. Where are you going? I sneered. They're holding a welcome banquet. How can I not go join the fun? The car sped all the way to the hotel. Before reaching the door, roaring laughter could already be heard from inside. You two can be considered lovers finally united. From high school to now, it must be 10 years. Yeah, if the Ford family business hadn't moved abroad, maybe the one marrying Serena back then would have been young Master Julian. It's the same now. As soon as Julian returned, CEO Sterling held a welcome banquet. With this treatment, I see good things approaching. Hug one. Hug one. Unable to listen anymore, I pushed open the private room door. Inside was extremely lively. Serena, face flushed, was being pushed into a hug with Julian. Below the stage was an audience full of people watching the show. Seeing me enter, everyone's attention turned to me. Serena frowned. What are you doing here? I almost laughed aloud. Holding the flowers I brought from the funeral, I walked to Serena. Heard you two returned today. I came to attend the welcome banquet. Congratulations to you two, lovers finally united. Serena furrowed her brows. Stop with the sarcasm. This isn't a place you should be. A flash of smugness passed through Julian's eyes. Don't say that. If Ethan comes, we welcome him. He stepped forward, standing beside Serena. It made me look like the outsider. True, they were childhood sweethearts. If not for Julian going abroad, maybe I wouldn't be in the picture. Serena obediently went over, looking down, and didn't speak. Beneath the stage, a rich kid looked at me mockingly. Serena doesn't like you. What's the use of you coming? What? The simp has simped all the way here. Smelling of poverty. Who brings fake flowers to see people? I turned and looked at that person quietly, holding out the flowers in my hand for him to see. These aren't fake flowers. These were taken from the wreath at Leo's funeral. Coming empty-handed wasn't appropriate. Thinking about it, I felt this gift was best. I picked the biggest ones from the wreath. Did they look good? The whole room was shocked. The usually high and mighty rich kids looked at me in uncertainty. Serena was provoked by me. Pointing at me, she roared sternly. Ethan Hayes, how long are you going to be crazy? Get out. She walked over in a few steps, snatched the flowers from my hand, and smashed them on the ground, her chest heaving with anger. Julian hurriedly blocked in front of Serena, advising me earnestly. Ethan, really, no matter what, you can't joke with a child's life. No wonder Serena doesn't like going home usually. You making trouble out of nothing like this. What woman can stand you? He was used to pretending to be the good guy, especially around Serena. But whether it was Leo or Serena, the person least qualified to speak was him. If not for Julian, Leo would absolutely not have left me so early. He was a murderer, and he had the face to stand here making snide remarks. I stared at Julian, my eyes holding a madness even I didn't detect. The day you went abroad, you went to the hospital to find Leo and harmed him until he had an attack. Panic flashed across Julian's face, and he didn't speak. Instead, Serena opened her mouth to mock. Ethan, do you know what you look like right now? You look like a mad dog, biting whoever you catch. I really don't know how I was blind enough to fall for trash like you back then. Julian owes you nothing, and neither do I. If you want to go crazy, get out. Don't force me to call security to throw you out. The anger in my chest grew heavier, so heavy I had to use all my strength to maintain surface calm. The murderer was standing right before my eyes. My wife stood firmly in front to protect him. The surrounding crowd watched coldly. Not one person came up to stop it. This was their circle. This was the wealthy elite. I nodded, then turned around. Before anyone in the room could react, I swung a champagne bottle from the side and smashed it onto Julian's head. With a crash, Julian screamed and fell to the ground, blood covering his face. Ethan Hayes! A shrill female voice rang out. Serena threw herself at me, hitting and kicking, as if I were her father's killer. You lunatic! Julian is in poor health, and you dare to hit him. You're trying to kill him. You're just a lunatic now. I want to divorce you, divorce. Call the police. Hurry, let the police arrest him. Held down by a few rich kids, I laughed mockingly, then louder and louder, until tears came out of my laughter. I felt unworthy for Leo, and unworthy for myself. Look, it's not that Serena couldn't get anxious. Julian got hurt a little, and she was so anxious she disregarded all her usual composure and dignity. My poor Leo. Even in death, his mother refused to see him one last time. I stared at the blood on Julian's head, my face filled with pure pleasure. If not for the quick movements of those rich kids, I would have wished to stab him to death. Seeing me laughing maniacally, panic flashed through Serena's eyes. Immediately, she pointed at me, hitting and scolding, with no one nearby trying to stop her. The police came very quickly. The matter blew up, even startling Serena's mother. Talk. What exactly happened? The officer knocked on the table, signaling us to speak. Serena looked at me hatefully. He maliciously injured someone. I sneered. Who did I injure? I was just avenging my child. Serena, what revenge? You were just making trouble. Ethan, this time I definitely want to divorce you. You are crazy. Hearing the word divorce, I had no reaction. Instead, Serena's mother beside her frowned. Seeing there was a hidden story, 2 officers stood by me. You tell us. What exactly happened? I sat in the chair, staring at Serena with a sarcastic smile. She didn't believe it, did she? Then I would explain it to her, bit by bit, right here in the police station. A year ago, Julian Ford returned to the country. This lady in front of me, my wife, cheated. That scene just now was their welcome back banquet. At the same time, our son passed away last week. No matter how I begged Serena, she refused to help save the child, causing our son to miss treatment and die. And that injured man. Before leaving, he specifically ran to the hospital to provoke my son, agitating him into an attack. He is a murderer. After I finished, the whole room was silent. I handed the video Lucas left to the police. Then I mocked the pale-faced Serena. Didn't you say divorce? Then let's divorce. I'm taking Leo's ashes. With a mother like you, Leo won't rest in peace underground. Serena stared at me, trying to find evidence of lying on my face. But there was none. I was too calm. She was somewhat fierce, but weak inside. You dare talk nonsense in the police station? Ethan, are you really sick? The rich kids beside had various expressions. Only Serena's mother, eyes flickering, suddenly grabbed Serena. What does it look like making noise in the police station? Serena, let's go home and discuss. Why? He hurt Julian like that. I must sue him. Mom, you saw it too. Ethan has gone crazy. I can't live with him. You can't make a scene here either. Serena's mother said sternly. But the police stopped her. A policewoman came in from outside and handed the documents in her hand to the central officer. Looking at Serena, her eyes were disdainful. Leo Sterling indeed died from a recurrence of brain cancer a week ago. The video is also real. Before the attack, Julian Ford indeed went to see him. Serena's face suddenly turned pale. The self-righteousness and plausible arguments from just now all disappeared without a trace. Her expression gradually became panicked. She looked at me, then uncontrollably stood up. Which Leo Sterling? You said Leo. Brain cancer last week. The policewoman took a few steps forward and showed her the death certificate on the phone. Your son Leo Sterling died of brain cancer a week ago, and you actually didn't know? Impossible. If Leo was really sick, why did no one tell me? I let out a scoff. Tell you? Would you believe it? Serena stared at me, as if remembering something, her face slowly turning ashen gray. Yes, I didn't know how many times I told her, but she was either busy with work or busy fooling around with Julian. She just didn't have a single moment to go to the hospital with me to see our son. She stared at the policewoman's phone, looking fearful, and slumped into the chair. Even now, she still didn't want to believe this fact. But the black and white death certificate and the police's statement couldn't be faked. Leo was really gone, and she, the mother, only found out now. Her lips trembled as she turned to look at her mother for help. The other party closed her eyes and nodded as if sighing in sorrow. As if suddenly unable to stand, Serena collapsed in the chair, salty tears flowing from her eyes. I didn't know. How is this possible? She cried with real feeling, shoulders trembling. The rich kids below watched this scene, their expressions becoming complex. They were happy to see Serena cheating with Julian from the same circle, but being so cruel to her own son was somewhat crossing the line. I looked at the desolate and despairing Serena, feeling only extreme ridicule. What are you pretending for? Wasn't it you who left your son to die? Serena, let's divorce. Hearing this, Serena suddenly stood up with red eyes. I don't agree. After that day, the two sides reached a settlement. But rather than a settlement, it was more like Julian and Serena were in the wrong, so they didn't dare pursue it further. Too many people were present. The news of Julian harming a child and Serena cheating on her husband spread the next day. The newly established company was affected by this public opinion and had already lost several projects. Julian had just returned to the country not long ago. His startup capital and connections were all given by Serena. Now that something happened, he immediately begged Serena, hoping she could help. But this time, Serena rejected his request. I didn't know if it was because Julian implicated her or if she really felt sorry for Leo. In short, the reputation of Serena abandoning her husband and son for Julian had spread. I had Lucas post the photos of the scene online and bought a few promoted spots. Even though Sterling Corp intervened in time, this matter was discussed with relish by netizens for a long time, and even Sterling Corp's reputation was affected. Serena was recently scolded severely by several shareholders. Even Serena's mother specially issued an announcement saying Julian had nothing to do with the Sterling family, and that online rumors were fake. Before, she didn't know Serena helped Julian so much. She really thought Julian was some young talent, so she was polite to him. Now realizing the Ford family went bankrupt long ago and Julian was just a facade leaning on Serena, naturally she refused to help him. She didn't want to pay attention to Julian, but Julian ran to Sterling Corp all day. The pushing and shoving between the two sides made netizens laugh their heads off. I watched coldly from the side, feeling they were just dogs biting dogs. Neither was anything good. But Serena had some wire crossed wrong. She suddenly moved back home and brought me a key to a BMW i7. What does this mean? I sat in the living room, looking up at her. Looking somewhat awkward, Serena put the car key on the table. Didn't you say you liked it before? Giving it to you. A year ago, before Julian returned, I casually said this car had good performance and was suitable for family spring outings. But now Leo was gone, yet she brought the car back. I looked up at Serena, my heart silent. No admiration, no jealousy. Only annoyance remained. No need. I have a car. Take it back. Finishing speaking, I turned to go back to the study. As I got up to leave, Serena grabbed my arm. Don't be like this. I scolded Julian. About Leo. Neither of us wanted that. Accept this. I will make it up to you, really. I turned to look at her. Serena explained anxiously, I know you're angry, but I didn't do it on purpose back then. Julian's illness came on suddenly. We were childhood friends. Surely I couldn't just leave him be, right? I pulled my hand away. Right, so no need to give me the car. Give it to your childhood friend to drive. Serena got anxious. What exactly do you want? No one wanted Leo's matter to happen. That's already in the past. I knew. The BMW was the olive branch Serena offered, her way of showing favor. It was like this before. No matter what Serena did, as long as she gave me a slight smile or a small gift, I would forget all previous unhappiness and immediately accept everything following her lead. She thought this trick would still work. But being easily coaxed before was only because I loved her and was willing to yield to her. Now it was different. Sneering, I looked down into Serena's eyes. Is it because I only scolded Julian? So you think Leo's death has nothing to do with you? Serena, put away your hypocrisy. If you hadn't helped Julian without any bottom line, would he have run to the hospital to find Leo? You weren't there when Leo was sick. You ran to keep Julian company during the funeral. Where do you get the right to advise me to let go now? You are the same as Julian, both murderers. I find a car you gave dirty. Finishing speaking, I turned and walked to the study. Signed the divorce agreement as soon as possible. Don't force me to sue. Serena still stood there, head down, expression unclear. Hearing this, she forced a smile at me. I know you are very angry now. I still have things at the company. I have to go back to work overtime. She took the car key and turned to leave. Knowing she was escaping, I scoffed and went back to the room. Regarding my relationship with Serena, I had nothing to struggle with now. Before, I was unwilling to divorce, making a big fuss with Serena because of Julian, but in the end, I pushed Serena further and further away. So far that she wasn't even willing to go home, nor willing to save Leo. The child's death gave me a blow to the head. A heart that has moved on cannot be pulled back even with all one's might. Moreover, I didn't want to keep her at all now. The love once full for Serena had long been consumed drop by drop in the daily arguments. Until now, only annoyance remained. The next day I drove out and received a call from Lucas on the way. Recently, a few of us buddies started a semiconductor company. Do you want to come take a look? Treat it as a change of mood. These days I no longer circled around Serena. Didn't need to pick up the child, didn't need to cook. I indeed had a lot of free time. So much that I thought about Leo all day, unable to sleep night after night. Anyway, I had nothing to do. Thinking about it, I detoured to their new company. It just happened that the money from selling the ring had arrived. I should return that $500,000 to him. Arriving at the place, Lucas enthusiastically introduced me to the new company's personnel. Most were juniors from our Ivy League days. There was even a little girl who just graduated this year, with bangs, looking very sweet. When introducing the project, she was clear and logical, appearing to have strong professional ability. Seeing them full of energy and high spirits, I felt somewhat ashamed. Also an Ivy League graduate, everyone was shining in their areas of expertise. Only I indulged in family, a complete love brain. Now, living life into this state. Seeing my desolate expression, Lucas winked at a few subordinates and called me into the office alone. You saw it too. The semiconductor industry has great prospects now. I think you could try joining our company. We'd still be happy to fight side by side like in college. I hesitated somewhat. This was indeed a new opportunity, but I hadn't worked in this profession for several years. I didn't know if I could adapt. Lucas patted my shoulder, encouraging. What are you afraid of? You were the top of our major back then. It's only been a few years. Do you lack even this bit of courage? Besides, Leo would also want his dad to reignite his fighting spirit. Knowing this was his way of goading me. But thinking of the destitute state when Leo was sick before, I nodded in agreement. For so many years before, I managed the inside, my life revolving around Serena. But she slowly began to look down on me, indulging outsiders to call me a freeloader. Thinking about it now, giving up my career for her was somewhat worthless. I should have had a more brilliant and spirited life. But because of being love-brained, I trapped myself in the family, making a mess of my days. Since it was so, I might as well come out and fight for it. Having made up my mind, I told Lucas I would go back to process my resignation in the next 2 days and then come report to him. Lucas finally laughed with relief. That's our good brother. I'll pay your salary at the market rate. I took the opportunity to transfer the money to him, forbidding him to decline. Making money wasn't easy for anyone, especially since Leo didn't end up spending much money at all. Lucas sighed and accepted the money. I've never seen anyone as silly as you. Married for so many years, apart from the diamond ring, you don't have a penny. What did you marry Serena for? I couldn't help but smile bitterly. For what? Of course for her. Being together since high school, then college. Throughout my school days, my biggest dream was to marry Serena. So when Serena agreed to the proposal after graduation, I was ecstatic to sign the prenuptial agreement and get the license immediately. After marriage, the household utility expenses were mine. I didn't trust the maid with grocery shopping and cooking, so I was responsible for that too. Later, when Leo was born, I switched to a stable sales job, and income became even tighter. No wonder Serena said I couldn't make money and had no future. I was the one who gave up the opportunity for growth and progress, placing precious time on Serena. Looking up at Lucas, I said seriously, not anymore. I plan to divorce Serena. Really? That's a good thing. Before, as a brother, I was embarrassed to advise you. Why keep such a rotten marriage? You should have had your own new life long ago. With your ability, no one would look down on you. Finishing speaking, he walked to the office area and clapped his hands, attracting everyone's attention. Today, my good brother Ethan Hayes is about to start a new life. From now on, he is also our colleague. Tonight, we go eat hot pot to celebrate. The crowd below cheered, and livened up, adding another general to the team. I'm benefiting from Ethan's light. Hot pot tonight. They laughed joyfully. Infected by such an atmosphere, even my mood lightened a lot. It seemed coming here to work was a good decision. Sitting in the car, I received a message from Serena. What time will you be home tonight? I cooked. Below was a photo of a table of dishes prepared by Serena, looking decent. It was rare. Married so many years, Serena had never actively cooked for me. She had for Julian. Because of this, I even got angry with her. But Serena said I was petty and hypocritical, that Julian was in poor health and taking care of him was appropriate, telling me not to make trouble out of nothing. Now I didn't want to care about her affairs with Julian, yet she actively came up. Dinner with colleagues tonight, not coming back. I sent it. It's already made. Why don't you find some excuse to come back and eat? We haven't eaten together in a long time. Seeing this, I was somewhat dazed. I seem to have said this before too. At first, Serena would nicely say she was with Julian and didn't have time. Later, lacking patience, she would tell me directly to get lost. Shaking my head, I really didn't know why I catered to her so much before. No need. I promised my colleagues. After sending the sentence, I turned off the screen and focused on listening to my colleagues' chat. Truly an elite team from the Ivy League. Lucas had good taste. Everyone in the team had strong working abilities. I listened to their discussion on the projects at hand for a while and felt genuinely impressed. No wonder Lucas could establish a company a few years after graduation. Good prospects, strong workability, and family support. What reason did he have not to succeed? If I threw myself into work like Lucas, thinking like this, my heart fell hot. What man doesn't want to achieve success and fame? I didn't do it before only because I valued family more. As for now, I smiled. Casting aside Serena, my mood recently was surprisingly calm. Lucas found a very delicious hot pot place. Driven by their atmosphere, I happily drank a few glasses of wine. Previously, revolving around Serena. She was busy with work and often didn't eat on time. To take care of her, I cooked 3 meals a day and brought them to her. Where would I have time to attend department gatherings? Over time, company colleagues slowly distanced themselves from me. I hadn't had such a group activity in a long time. It felt pretty good. The phone on the table kept flashing light. It was messages from Serena. She kept asking me to go back to eat. Seeing no reaction from me, she changed her tone, asking what time I would return and if I was drinking, whether she should come pick me up. Chattering endlessly, very annoying. Suddenly, I understood Serena's attitude towards me back then a bit. Thinking about it now, she must have been very impatient too. Being entangled back and forth by someone she didn't love, anyone couldn't stand it. I set Serena's messages to do not disturb and continued eating and drinking with everyone. We ate for a long time and went to karaoke afterward. When things got rowdy, Lucas took a photo, saying it was for team building. I followed the crowd and made a peace sign. Seeing the photo in the group chat afterward, I felt incredible. Which smiling man was me? After all, since getting married, I had been taking care of wife and child, then arguing back and forth with Serena. I couldn't remember when the last time I was this happy was. Dizzy from a few glasses of wine, the gloom in my heart dissipated a lot. Lucas called a designated driver for me. I arrived home in the early morning. The living room light was still on. Serena was actually at home waiting for me. One had to know, before, even if I actively requested, she never stayed for me. The business passing through my hands in 1 minute is worth millions. Ethan, letting me idle at home waiting for you. Isn't that a bit too fanciful? But now, she was actually sitting at home waiting for me until late at night, and hangover soup was prepared on the table. I found it somewhat magical. Serena supported me over, looking complex. How did you drink until now to come back? I looked up, slightly tipsy, a little bit. Rare to be happy today. Seeing my flushed face, Serena suddenly leaned in and hugged me. So waiting for someone alone at home feels like this. Ethan, I know I was wrong. Before I did wrong. I won't make you wait for me again. I pulled her away. No need. You don't need to wait for me in the future. Serena held my hand. No. I said I would make it up to you. Ethan, we are husband and wife, originally the closest people. I frowned, not knowing what craziness this was. Suddenly, her gaze swept over my finger. Serena's expression changed. Where is your ring? I didn't make a sound. That was our token of love. How could you throw it away, casually? Her emotions became agitated. I replied nonchalantly, I sold it. Sold it? Why? Tell me if you were short of money. Serena pressed anxiously. I sneered, sitting on the sofa, sizing up her anxious expression. It looked real. But if she hadn't refused to help Leo, why would I need to borrow money and sell the ring? What act was this now? Because Leo's surgery cost a lot of money. Serena's face gradually turned pale. Because at that time you were entangled with Julian, and even if I knelt, you wouldn't help him. Just for this reason. Satisfied, I asked softly, watching helplessness and pain surge in Serena's eyes. Before, seeing her like this, my heart would ache terribly, and I would do everything to make her happy. Now, no waves, I even found it funny. Didn't she do these things? Now that the child is gone, who was this scene for? Looking up and forcing a smile at me. Serena. It was me who did poorly. I'll buy you another ring. I misunderstood you before. She hurriedly changed the topic. How about we go to the mall tomorrow? I'll buy you one. No, buy a pair. One for each of us. In the past, if I wanted her to accompany me out, I had to beg 1,000 times. Now, she actively requested it. Pity, I didn't want to go with her anymore. Chuckling lightly, I turned back to the room. Just as she used to say, I spit out a phrase. No, busy. When I woke up the next day, Serena actually hadn't left. She seemed to be for real, really wanted to compensate me. On the table were meals she prepared early, made to my taste. She didn't go to the company either, moving her work directly to the house. And rings, she had people send several different styles laid out on my desk. Along with them, she prepared a black card for me with $10 million on it. Serena explained, before, my thinking was wrong. I didn't appreciate your contribution. Actually, only because you took care of the family could I focus my energy on my career and earn this money. Afraid I wouldn't accept, she added. This is originally joint marital property. You deserve it. I didn't take the ring, but I took the black card. I wasn't that high-minded. Serena earned so much money. It was strange I didn't have a penny before. A family is a unit. Internal and external roles are divided. Why was Serena successful for working outside, while I was scolded as a freeloader for taking care of her and Leo meticulously? This was fundamentally unfair. Moreover, holding this black card, I had other uses. That night, I called Lucas asking him to help find a private investigator to check on Julian. As for Serena, to be honest, I had a headache. Her frequency of appearance at home was too high. I only felt annoyed, a feeling that my own life rhythm was disrupted. Especially whenever I thought of her, I would think of Leo, think of his critical illness. For several days in a row, Serena stayed at home. The thing I used to dream of now only felt awkward. I found an agency to help me look for an apartment. Wanted to move out as soon as possible, but couldn't find a suitable listing immediately. I could only live on awkwardly like this. But that day, Julian suddenly came to the door. He had lost a lot of weight recently. After I let Lucas expose his involvement in Serena's marriage, Julian was branded a homewrecker. Sterling Corp would do urgent PR for Serena, but wouldn't lift a finger for Julian. Especially since Serena's mother didn't have a good impression of his former childhood friend, whose family status had fallen. Recently, his company had frequent accidents. No trace of the young talent remained. Coming to find Serena this time, stubble had even popped out. "Serena, can't you help me? The company is in a storm right now. Just lend me another $5 million. I could definitely pull through." I sneered from the side. "So, Mr. Young Talent, your previous glory relied entirely on borrowing money." He glanced at me, embarrassment flashing across his face, then looked at Serena with sorrow. "Does it have to be this absolute? We are childhood friends who grew up together. You won't help even this little favor?" Serena bit her lip, but still refused. "It's not appropriate for me to help you again." She glanced at me, turning her head away. "Julian, I thought about our relationship. We crossed the line. I'm married. I have a child we shouldn't have. But the child is already me, Julian Ford. You have the face to mention Leo. Do you think just because you can't be sentenced, I can't do anything to you? Serena and I haven't divorced yet. The money she lent you before was marital property. Are you asking me to sue for its return?" A flash of venom passed through his eyes. Julian turned to look at Serena, his demeanor becoming sorrowful again. "I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have gone to see Leo back then, but I just kindly wanted to see if I could help. In the end, it's because I care too much about you. The company is my life's blood. When I first returned, you said you would definitely help me. Now, we're just becoming profitable. As long as you help me, I can definitely survive this calamity." The more he spoke, the more agitated he became, his eyes slowly turning mad. "Serena, you must help me. Those people look down on me, usually saying nice things, but when trouble really hits, not one is reliable. You must help me. If you don't help me, I'm finished." Ignoring any manly image, Julian gradually choked up in front of Serena, his eyes turning red. Then, his breathing suddenly became rapid, clutching Serena's hand, trembling uncontrollably. Only then did she support him, unable to bear it. "You're having an attack again? Why don't you take your medicine? Don't think just because you do this, I will soften." Although saying this, Serena still looked at him worriedly. Julian gasped heavily, his throat making a rattling sound. Slowly, his face began to turn blue. Serena finally softened. She supported Julian, then looked at me anxiously. "His attacks are severe and require a specialist. Ethan, I have to take him there." In the past, going out with Julian, she never actively reported to me. Looking at her with a faint smile, I nodded. Serena supported Julian and left. Before leaving, Julian turned and smiled smugly at me. I knew this was him showing off. Showing off that in front of Serena, he beat me again. But actually, I didn't care at all now. However, his illness came really timely. Perhaps I should investigate properly to see what exactly was going on. Time is truly a magical thing. The proud and wanton Julian in high school now actually had to rely on playing the victim to a woman to survive, his acting skills exquisite like a movie star. I couldn't even recall his original arrogant look. True, so many years had passed. I was no longer the Ethan Hayes who wholeheartedly admired Serena. He wasn't the noble, arrogant rich kid either. We had long changed. Only Serena pulling this stunt made me somewhat dissatisfied. Not because of jealousy, simply feeling they were annoying. Like singing an opera, disturbing my life again and again. Playing with the black heart in my hand, I added money to the agent's fee, telling them to help me find a house as soon as possible. I wanted to move out quickly, the further from Serena the better. With the support of money, the next morning, the agent brought the moving company to find me. Just in time to meet Serena driving home. She stood by the door, looking somewhat shaky. "You are moving?" I sat on the sofa, surrounded by packed luggage. "Yes, found it overnight last night." The agent was fast. Serena stepped forward, a trace of hope flashing in her eyes. "Is it because of Julian? Are you jealous?" She explained urgently. "I didn't lend him money. I knew he came deliberately to sell misery and show weakness. Yesterday, I took him to the hospital. The doctor said it was best to observe for a night, so I stayed there, rushing back as soon as it was light. I did these things only because of our childhood friendship. It has nothing to do with anything else. Saying that, she looked up at me carefully. Don't mind it. I didn't mind. In fact, my moving was planned long ago. Serena refused to divorce. I could only separate first and then make plans. Moreover, I had no interest in watching the rotten drama of her and Julian playing hard to get. However, Serena actually being indifferent to Julian's illness truly exceeded my expectations. You see, actually, she could see through Julian's little schemes long ago. Cooperating with Julian's tactics before was just because she didn't care about me. Now that she cared, she changed her face. Pity, my full feelings for Serena had long been consumed to the last drop after Leo died. I was tired. This marriage was now a burden to me. Looking at the nervous Serena, I said without emotion, the divorce I mentioned before. Do you remember? If you aren't willing, let's separate first. I'll move out. It's meaningless like this now. I think it's unnecessary. We have no feelings left long ago. Didn't you say it? A marriage without feelings isn't worth a penny. Better to separate and be free. These were her original words. Back then I used all my skills to beg her not to divorce, humble as a dog. In just a few short months, our statuses had swapped. Serena's face turned whiter and whiter. She stared firmly into my eyes, determining I was serious. Then watching the movers going in and out, organizing my things. We bought this house after marriage. It was in Serena's name. Inside, from big furniture and appliances to small murals and rugs, all were carefully selected by me, full of traces of our past love. But now, those are dismantled, piled together randomly by the garbage heap at the door, looking very worthless. Serena closed her eyes, compromising with a tremble. Don't move. I'll move. You furnished this house. Leo's things are all inside. If you move, Leo will be reluctant to leave. I'll change the property title to your name this afternoon. I'll move out tomorrow. Getting a house for free and being able to keep Leo's room, why not? Looking at Serena's sorrowful, hopeless face, I nodded in agreement. Perhaps afraid I would really leave, Serena moved very fast, packing her things out overnight, afraid I would regret it. Before leaving, she bit her lip and came to my side. Can you not file the lawsuit yet? I feel there is a misunderstanding between us. We need to cool down. I looked at her, eyes devoid of emotion. I have always been calm. Since Leo passed away, I only feel awake as never before. Serena, we can't go on. Serena looked up at me, eyes full of sorrow. So you don't love me anymore, right? When we married, you clearly said you would love me for a lifetime. I chuckled, feeling she was a bit naive. You also said you would never have a change of heart. Between her and Julian, saying there was no relationship at all. Who would believe it? Does someone who abandoned me and Leo first have the right to say such things? Clearly, Serena understood my meaning. She stared into my eyes, seeing the emotions inside clearly. There was indifference and annoyance. There was fatigue, just no love. Serena suddenly smiled forcefully, a taste of panic in her eyes. I should go. The car is waiting outside. Right? I can't stay here anymore. She turned and went out, somewhat fleeing in defeat. I knew she was escaping, just like I didn't want to admit she cheated with Julian back then. Pity. Change is change. No matter how the person remaining tries to salvage it, it's useless. Before, I didn't understand this principle, pestering Serena and begging in every way. She must have been troubled too. Never again. After Serena left, I lived more quietly than ever. I had already resigned from the company. The manager even said a few regretful words, asking if I needed a raise or a transfer. Not wanting to mention family matters too much, I just said it was due to career planning and handed in the resignation form. The manager patted my shoulder, looking emotional. Sigh, when you came in, I didn't plan on you staying this long. After all, an Ivy League grad isn't a fit for this job. Unexpectedly, after going round and round for several years, you still left. Hearing this, I was stunned. Yes, things that weren't suitable to begin with, no matter how much grinding, would still have the same ending. After handing over the work, I went to report to the new company. Lucas welcomed my arrival with joy. He was truly unceremonious, bringing a stack of documents for me to familiarize myself with the current industry situation and their projects as soon as possible. I quickly entered the new life. After working during the day, I had to work overtime at night reading project proposals. The busy life left me no time to think about other things, and my emotions stabilized a lot. Especially after separating from Serena, I no longer dreamed of the past all night. My sleep quality improved significantly. The house changed a lot during this time. I cleared out everything related to Serena. Fortunately, she hadn't stayed at home much before, so there wasn't much stuff. After cleaning the house that day, I hugged Leo's toy and muttered to myself, will you blame Daddy for divorcing Mommy? But Mommy did something wrong, a big mistake. Daddy can't live with her anymore. Everyone has to be responsible for their choices. Daddy is, Mommy is too. Leo, Daddy won't let the people who bullied you off the hook, really. Bitterness crept up my heart drop by drop. Thinking about Julian and Serena. Wiping away tears, I threw myself wholeheartedly into busy work. For the current me, improving my own strength was the urgent matter. Only then could I accumulate power to avenge Leo. The image of Leo lying pale on the hospital bed, I hadn't forgotten it for a moment. I adapted well in the new company. Lucas was my good brother, and the other few guys I had met in college. The only one, a girl with bangs named Chloe, had a very good personality and often brought us homemade desserts. In just a week, we became close like family. Sometimes I even felt like I had returned to the past, the feeling of fighting side by side with teammates in college. The days were busy and fulfilling. I thought life would continue without waves. But after work that day, I ran into Serena again. She parked her car at the company gate, staring at the scarf Chloe handed me, her face looking ugly. Because the wind was strong and my hands were holding documents, Chloe casually hung the scarf around my neck. Lucas patted my shoulder, gesturing towards Serena's direction. What's going on? Who knows? She's crazy. I wanted to bypass Serena and go straight back, but she got out of the car and walked to me in a few steps. I wanted to go to your company to find you, but the manager there said you resigned. Turning, she looked at Chloe and extended her hand. Hello, Serena Sterling. Ethan Hayes' wife. There was some hidden hostility. Lucas pursed his lips, dismantling her stage. Ex-wife only. Serena's face went white. Chloe looked at me, smiled forcefully, said hello, and went back. I pinched the bridge of my nose, a bit annoyed. What are you here for? Serena stared at me, her voice revealing a little grievance. Today is our wedding anniversary. I can't take you out for dinner. Seeing me staring at her without speaking, Serena took my bag, speeding up her speech. I have something to tell you. It's quite important. Do you have time just tonight? Her eyes held a trace of pleading. I greeted Lucas and sat in Serena's passenger seat. She was somewhat pleasantly surprised, trotting all the way to open the car door for me. In the past, this was treatment only Julian received. I booked a private room at September Residence. Didn't you say Cantonese food was delicious before? Their chef has new items recently. After eating, we could go see a movie. Have you seen the recent Love, Men and Women? The rating is quite high. Serena chattered endlessly, looking in high spirits. I didn't know where she got so many words. I'm a bit tired. I don't want to tangle with you at the company gate. Just say what you have to say. Serena glanced at me and smiled forcefully. Is that so? Let's go eat first. We're almost there. I hadn't been to September Residence in a long time. Recently with Lucas and the others, my eating habits seemed to return to before, preferring heavy flavors and spicy food. September Residence was actually what Serena loved to eat. It was to cater to her taste back then that I lied and said I liked it. After following her lead so many times, even I forgot that I actually didn't like Cantonese food at all. Thinking about it now, completely abandoning myself for love was indeed not worth it. In this aspect, I was wrong. Walking to the table, I sat down directly. Serena stood blankly at the side. Only when I sat down did she smile awkwardly and quickly sit opposite. In the past, when dining out, I always pulled out the chair and took off her coat, arranging everything meticulously. She thought I would still be like before. Checking the time nonchalantly, I mentioned, say it quickly if you have something. I have to read project proposals tonight. Serena looked up at me. Why did you suddenly change companies? That girl, is she a new colleague? Looks like you have a good relationship. I looked up, smiling faintly. Just a friend? Can a friend known for a few days tie a scarf for you? Serena's face was full of indignation. Why no boundaries? Lucas is too much, recruiting anyone into the company. Girls these days, not thinking about working hard, doing all these trivial things every day. I leaned back in the chair, looking at her mockingly. We're all friends. Taking care of each other is nothing, right? Hearing this, Serena froze, looking up at me sharply. Her expression was somewhat hurt. It seemed she remembered past events. When Julian first returned, Serena stayed out all night to take care of him. I couldn't help calling her, asking her to come back soon. But Serena refused impatiently. We're all friends. What's wrong with taking care of each other? Ethan, by marrying you, am I not allowed to have friends anymore? Who do you think you are? That night, Serena ultimately didn't come home, leaving me to guard the empty house all night. That was the coldest night I spent after marriage. Cold until my heart trembled with pain. Only I was useless. Later, Serena brought me roast goose from September residence, and I happily followed the steps she offered and forgave her. She must have thought of this incident. Serena's voice trembled slightly. I'm sorry. Before, I had no sense of propriety. The whip doesn't hurt until it hits one's own body. Serena righteously entangled with Julian for so long. Now just seeing a colleague tie a scarf for me, she couldn't stand it. This was nothing compared to that. Seeing I didn't speak, Serena handed me a glass of water and took the opportunity to speak. I sought you out this time to tell you our company lacks a project manager position. The annual salary is $500,000. I think you're very suitable. The daily work involves traveling with me. Don't worry, there are travel allowances. Quit that small company job of Lucas's. It has no future. Come to the project manager position for a transition of 2 years. Then I can save the VP position for you. She spoke as if it were natural, but I suddenly wanted to laugh. Where do you get the confidence to think I will definitely listen to you? Serena paused, hurriedly explaining, I didn't mean that. I just feel going to Sterling Corp might be better for you. After all, it's a big company. Don't you hate freeloaders the most? Before, you told me to learn from Julian, saying men should start businesses and do deals. Relying on women is useless. Why change now? Serena closed her eyes, looking hurt. Ethan. I crossed my arms watching her, my face devoid of emotion. Since you are here today, let's discuss when to process the divorce. I can't wait. I don't want to be entangled with you. Serena lowered her head silently, suddenly bringing a plate of roast duck in front of me. Don't talk about these unhappy things. You like roast duck? Taste it quickly. Me? I never liked eating this. It was because I liked you back then that I catered to your taste and said so. The implication was self-evident. Serena, dragging this on is meaningless. You know my attitude. Since Leo left, it's impossible for us. Doing these things is useless to me. Moreover, you don't understand me at all, nor do you know what I want. Let me think about it properly. Today is our wedding anniversary. Can we not talk about this? Serena looked at me trembling, eyes slightly red. As if I said more, she would shed tears. Before, I never thought Serena would be affected by me to this extent. After all, she had always been high above, controlling my joys and sorrows, never showing she cared about me. Her tears, in the past, were weapons that could take my life. Looking at them now, they felt irrelevant. Besides, for the wedding anniversaries of the past 2 years, Serena didn't even come home. Back then she was busy with work, busy taking care of her sick childhood friend. She just refused to come home to spend the holiday with me, even disdaining me for being hypocritical and troublesome, insisting on pursuing some sense of ritual. Actually, what sense of ritual is a wedding anniversary? It was just because I loved her, so I wanted to be with her every time a holiday came. Not anymore. I couldn't even recall the mood of chasing after her all day before. After realizing this, I didn't feel sad, only totally relaxed. Serena no longer possessed the ability to affect my emotions, so naturally, she had no chance to hurt me. I only felt rejoiced. Since she didn't mention divorce, there was nothing left for us to say. Looking at Serena's teary eyes opposite me, I only dropped a flat sentence. Suit yourself. Then I turned and left directly. I thought I had made myself very clear. But unbeknownst to me, Serena actually moved to our residential complex, only 2 buildings away from me. I often ran into her during morning exercises. The Serena who never exercised before now would rain or shine, get up at 6 to jog in the community. This was my previous habit. After Leo was born, I never slept in again. At first for exercise. Later when Leo went to kindergarten, the school bus came at 8. I was used to getting up at 6 to exercise, coming back at 7 to make breakfast, and waking Leo up by the way. Serena could never get up in the morning. She was a night owl, usually getting up at the last minute and leaving with the coffee, too late to eat the breakfast I made. Now I didn't know what possessed her. I bumped into her almost every day during morning exercises, and she often brought me breakfast she made herself. Do you like egg sandwiches? I made 2 extra today. Juice I blended myself. Want some? It's very healthy. Tomorrow I plan to make sushi, tuna, and crab stick. Do you like it? She asked back and forth. Finally one day, I got annoyed. What exactly do you mean? I don't think it's necessary for us to contact each other. Serena bit her lip watching me, saying firmly, last time you said I didn't understand you. I think you were right. Ethan, before it was you accommodating me, tolerating everything about me. I took it too much for granted. So I feel it's necessary for me to understand you all over again. Just treat it as me courting you again, okay? I refused subconsciously. No, I have nothing to say to you. She trotted to catch up. Julian and I aren't what you think. At first, because his asthma attacked and his family company went bankrupt, I decided to help him. We never really started anything. Ethan, Only after going in this big circle did I realize only you truly love me. You don't seek fame or profit, don't care if I give you money, can tolerate my temper infinitely. I can't possibly meet a better man than you, so I won't give up. Ethan, I will definitely win you back. She turned back and made a cheering gesture to herself, hopping and running away. Looking full of energy. I frowned, lagging behind. I just felt she was a self-righteous neurotic. When she hated me, she wished I would die the next second. Now that she liked me, she entangled endlessly behind me. Serena didn't understand what respect was, nor what love was. How could such a person understand feelings? Tangled with Serena for so many years, it was always me chasing after her. It was the person I chose, so I accepted the loss. But now I'd thought it through. How could I go back to that gambling table? Serena thought too confidently, thinking if she worked hard enough, she could salvage the relationship. But for someone who doesn't love, no matter how much entanglement or retention, it's useless. On this point, I was clearer than her. Knowing Serena's attitude, I started adjusting my morning exercise route. Later, I chose a gym 2 kilometers outside the community directly. Finally, I didn't bump into Serena anymore. I picked up the new company's business very quickly. It should be thanks to me subconsciously paying attention to relevant information in my major all these years. The relevant knowledge was never forgotten. So the projects Lucas handed over to me were all completed very well. The name Lin Sheng, Force Life, appeared more and more in the eyes of industry insiders. Worthy of our major's top student back then, the old knife hasn't dulled. Get out who's old. I'm only 29 this year. On the day of the celebration meeting, we laughed and played, empty wine bottles filling the table. That night, I had a lot of fun. After working overtime continuously for half a month, the project's success was the greatest reward for hard work. No complaints, no anis. Devoted to work, I was calmer than ever. Moreover, I met a boss and colleagues who appreciated me. I proposed for the company's most important project bidding next month. Let Ethan go. Does everyone agree? Lucas raised his glass and said. The project was done well. He was the happiest person. He covered his face and cried twice at night, then ran to karaoke to howl, just like back then. Chloe blushed, eyes under the bangs shining. What's there to disagree with? Ethan's ability is obvious to all. I think letting him go is well-deserved. The colleagues behind exchanged glances, since Chloe said so. Then we agreed to, they said laughing and joking, pointing at Chloe with implied meaning. Under the lights, Chloe's eyes were shockingly bright, glowing. Blushing, she glanced at me and lowered her head without speaking. Lucas slammed the table. Then Ethan goes. He scanned below, pointing casually at Chloe. Chloe act as assistant, go along together. The two can look after each other. Having finally achieved results with the company he founded personally, Lucas dragged us to drink endlessly. By the time the drinking party ended, it was past 10. I called a driver to park the car, walking to my door tipsily myself. Suddenly, several entangled figures ahead attracted my attention. Wandering here so late? Beautiful. Are you alone? Boring guarding here alone. Come out for a late-night snack with us brothers. The drunk man beside urged him. What's with the chit-chat? Drag her out quickly. Wait until the community inspection is done, and we'll be kicked out by security. They pushed and shoved. Amidst talking, they were about to forcefully drag the slender girl in the middle out. What they wanted to do was self-evident. I stood silently behind them. What do you want to do? I've called the police. The two drunks turned to look at me, sizing up my figure. Seeing I was alone, they sneered. None of your business. Want you to dare play hero, saving the beauty. I reminded them. This is my home. There are cameras at the door. The police will arrive in 10 minutes. Are you going to stay here? Only then did they panic. Looking at the camera flashing red light, they quickly fled. I shook my head. These guys were dim. Probably wandered in from outside by accident. This is a high-end community. Anyone with eyes wouldn't dare target residents here. This girl bumping into them was really unlucky. Looking at the girl stunned in place, I thought she was terrified. I leaned in to ask, are you okay? Which building do you live in? Should I help call your family? Under the dim light, the girl threw herself into my arms, hot tears rolling down. Ethan, thankfully you came. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to do. She raised her tear-stained face, looking at me gratefully. It was actually Serena. Why would she come to my house? I wanted to bring you some sea cucumber, but your passcode changed, and you didn't answer the phone. I waited at the door for you and ran into them. Thankfully you came, boohoo. I was so scared. I was so drunk I could barely stand, and Serena cried hard. My head hurt from the noise. I could only open the door and let her sit in the house first. Serena's posture was as if she were still the hostess. She walked around, seeing the traces of one person living in the house, nodded with satisfaction. Then she put the things she brought into the refrigerator. I hadn't cooked much recently. There were only bottles of water in the fridge. Why are there no ingredients? You really are. As soon as I leave, life becomes like this. Tomorrow I'll buy some ingredients to fill your fridge, or I can cook for you. Home cooking is healthier. She chattered bunch. Drunk badly. I pinched my forehead on the sofa, not wanting to talk. Serena looked at me reproachfully, shaking her head helplessly. Getting drunk so easily. How did you have the guts to save someone? Good thing I'm here. Otherwise, drunk like this, you wouldn't even have someone to take care of you. Saying that, she brought me hangover soup and touched my forehead worriedly. Avoided by me. You should leave in a while. Those two shouldn't dare come back. I've already filed for divorce. It's inappropriate for us to be like this. Serena turned to look at me, eyes turning red bit by bit. Are you unwilling to give me even a tiny chance? We've been together so many years. I don't believe you have no feelings for me at all. If you really didn't want to care about me, why did you save me just now? You clearly can't bear to leave me. You can't stand seeing me bullied. I rubbed my forehead, not knowing how to explain. I didn't see your face clearly at all. Besides, no matter who it is, as long as a woman is like that in front of my eyes, I would save her. Hearing this, Serena looked at me resentfully, suddenly rushing violently into my arms. Drunk and powerless, for a moment I really couldn't stop her. I don't care. Anyway, you just saved me. You are my savior. She snuggled against my chest, mumbling, Ethan, you saved me again, just like in high school. She was talking about our first meeting in high school. At that time, Serena was the famous school beauty. Once after a sports meet, she was blocked behind the school and harassed. It was me who stood stiff-necked in front of her to protect her. And because of that, I was beaten half to death by those thugs. At that time, you were thinner than now, white and tall like a clear bamboo. But standing in front of me, you refused to retreat a step. Do you know? At that time, I was thinking you, this thin student council president, are actually such a responsible person. Later, I realized that was you liking me, willing to sacrifice for me. Saying that, a sweet smile appeared on Serena's face. My brain buzzed chaotically. I had no mind to listen to her reminiscing. But back then, you said my family was poor, and I was approaching you deliberately. After being saved, Julian scolded me severely, saying I was a shabby bug with ill intentions toward you. You just stood by watching coldly as he humiliated me, not saying a word for me. This was the truth of that year's event. Serena's face turned white. She explained hurriedly. That was because you always deducted Julian's credits back then, saying he broke rules. He just. Mentioning the past events, I couldn't help sneering. Julian skipped class, bullied classmates, acting recklessly in school, relying on his father being on the school board. Which point did I wrong him on? He was young and ignorant too. My anger surged. Ignorant allows bullying classmates randomly. Ignorant allows insulting girls, driving someone to jump off a building. Didn't that girl who died back then have the same age as Julian? Serena, do you really not know? Or are you playing deaf and dumb? You know it in your heart. Julian has a human life on his back. Even this you can excuse as young and ignorant. You have the nerve to say it. Besides showing off in school, the most famous thing about Julian was the jumping incident back then. A girl in the same class suddenly jumped off a building before the college entrance exam. Rumors in school said she was pregnant with Julian's child and wanted to marry into the rich family. But the boy's family refused to acknowledge it, so she couldn't think straight and sought a short-sighted end. After the incident, the school suppressed all news, and the girl's family didn't pursue it later. No one knew what role Julian played in this matter, but to say it had nothing to do with him was impossible. After all, the girl had been pursued by Julian before. After the suicide, Julian went abroad very quickly. The timing, one after another, looked like deliberate escape. How could I think Serena emerged from the mud unstained? She said she didn't know the school rumors and didn't know what Julian was doing, and I actually believed it. Thinking about it now, since Serena could be so close to Julian, how could she not know what Julian did? Nothing more than covering up. Or perhaps they were the same kind of people. People from a different world than me. It was I who thought I understood her, foolishly giving my heart, really thinking we could live a good life. Ending up like this wasn't a loss. Just didn't know how the victims bullied by Julian were living now. Seeing I didn't speak, Serena explained anxiously. He has changed now. I've changed too. Or rather, no matter if he changes or not, I won't care about him anymore. He went behind my back to find Leo, talking nonsense in front of Leo. I will never forgive him in this life. Ethan, I really know I was wrong. Forgive me, okay? Can we be together like before? I swear, I will treat you well. I pulled her away, looking carefully at this face. From the finely outlined red lips to the fox eyes shining with tears. Still as beautiful as back then, but unable to move my heart anymore. I knew what Serena said was true. Married so many years, I could easily distinguish if her words were true or false. She truly knew she was wrong, and truly wanted to change, wanted to make it up to me, live a good life with me. But so what? She knew she was wrong, so I must forgive? And what about my past years? What about Leo? Being with her, the price of losing was too tragic, the pain too bone deep. How did I dare try again? And how did I dare say forgive on Leo's behalf? Looking at Serena's pleading eyes, I turned and pointed at Leo's photo, looking at her with a sneer. You think only Julian killed Leo? Wasn't Julian brought back by you, the biological mother? The person who killed Leo is actually you. It was you who disappointed Leo again and again, you who ignored your own son for Julian, and you who personally led Julian into Leo's life. You're also a murderer. What right does a murderer have to mention forgiveness in front of Leo? Serena, get out. Get out of mine and Leo's home. That night, Serena cried until her face was covered in tears. But I was unmoved and still drove her away. Now her emotions could no longer affect me. Her tears had no value to me, precisely because I could see her admission of mistakes was sincere. So I knew, when she angrily told me to die back then, she was also sincere. Loving someone, wishing them life. Hating someone, wishing them death. This was perfectly embodied in Serena, saying she knew her mistakes and would change. Actually, she was no different from before. Whoever she liked, she held in her hands, hurting others recklessly. Whoever she hated, she wished to drive to death without reason. Essentially, it was all arrogant selfishness. Pity. Now I didn't plan to play this game with her, nor plan to touch love again. No matter what she said, it was useless. The next morning, I went to the company as usual. It just happened Lucas came over saying the bidding meeting was about to start. So Chloe and I packed our bags and went to San Diego on a business trip. Along the way, flowers were blooming like brocade. The bidding meeting would be held in 2 days. With nothing to do, Chloe and I began to leisurely tour San Diego. It was the season for spring outings. Chloe was young. Inevitably, she liked taking photos and shopping. I acted as the photographer, following behind her to help take photos from memory. Feeling good, I even kept several photos to share on my Instagram moments. Serena liked every one of them. She even commented subtly underneath, "If there's a chance, I want to go too. San Diego in this season must be fun. Are several of you going together? I see a girl. Have fun, come home early." Those who didn't know would think we hadn't divorced. "You guys, are you getting back together?" Seeing me staring at Instagram without a sound, Chloe leaned over to glance, asking stammeringly, "No way. She won't divorce." I filed a lawsuit. Who knows what crazy fit she's throwing? Chloe turned her head down, touching the flower wreath in her hand, not looking at me. Maybe she can't let go? After all, Ethan is capable and nice. It's normal for her to regret it. The spring sunlight shone on the little girl's face. The slight blush on her cheeks was particularly obvious. I probably knew what Chloe meant, but I was absolutely not the right person for her. Just withdrew from failed marriage. I didn't want to, nor had the ability to manage a relationship again. Chloe just graduated. Placing feelings on me was a waste. Smiling, I pretended not to know and pointed at the flowers for her to see. "Chloe, look at the flowers in San Diego. Just budding, exactly the time to seize the chance to grow. If absorbing nutrients and fertilizer is delayed because of other things, delaying the flowering period in the end, that would be bad." Chloe's face stiffened. She murmured, "Will this kind of thing definitely delay the flowering period?" I cracked a joke. "Look at me. Back then, I was a love brain. Result is now I'm withered willow, having to start work from scratch. You listen to me on this matter. In career, being a lone wolf is better. Lone wolves can take off directly." Only then did Chloe burst into laughter. "Take off? Let's win this bidding meeting first." She glanced at me, her smile full of freedom. "You're right. Being a career-focused heroine suits me better. When I have money, what kind of guy can I find?" "Good, you definitely can." We smiled at each other. Everything was understood without words. Chloe was a straightforward girl. After confirming our positions with each other, her state recovered very quickly. We played well in San Diego for a day, then attended the bidding meeting as scheduled. The venue occupied a large area. Lucas's company had strong momentum this year. Plus, having completed a few good projects before, the staff arranged a position very far forward. Chloe and I just sat down when a familiar male voice came from behind. "Oh, Isn't this the freeloader Ethan Hayes? Hooked up with some rich woman again. I turned to look. It was Julian Ford, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. He had lost some more weight. One could tell he carefully tidied himself up, but his whole body was still full of decadence. There was a trace of the previous high spirits. Seeing me now, his eyes flashed with jealous light. Looks like Julian was living poorly recently. Also true. Back then, I let people expose the news of him intruding in Serena's marriage. Julian was branded a male homewrecker. Sterling Corp would do urgent PR for Serena, but wouldn't put effort for Julian. Especially since Serena's mother had no good impression of this childhood friend whose family status fell. Recently, his company had frequent accidents. No trace of the young talent remained. Coming to the bidding meeting this time, he had stubble. Why aren't you going in? Did you fail to mooch a meal? You. Julian gritted his teeth, looking at me. Right, Serena won't help you, so you can't even get into the intervenue. Claiming I'm a freeloader. Actually, you were the one raised by a woman, right? In the monthly exams of senior year, Julian couldn't even score 300 points, finally reading a diploma mill master's degree abroad. Does such a person really have the ability to run a company independently? Or were the company and performance he bragged about before all Serena's charity? Now that Serena refused to help him, he showed his true colors? Then the way Serena claimed how capable and motivated he was before. Wasn't it a joke? Hearing this, Julian looked at me viciously, the malice in his eyes almost overflowing. What's the use of you telling me this? You'll be abandoned sooner or later anyway. Don't think I don't know. You and Serena are already separated. You will divorce sooner or later. When the time comes, Serena will only choose me. It seemed he didn't know the truth about my separation from Serena, thinking I was still like before, chasing behind Serena, begging for reconciliation. Seeing I didn't speak, thinking he hit the mark, Julian looked at me triumphantly. I said long ago, a poor lower-class person like you. What qualification do you have to be with Serena? You'll be abandoned sooner or later. Julian always prided himself on being upper class. His sense of superiority was extremely strong. After the family fell, he learned to assess the situation. Before in front of Serena, he didn't have this face. This person had two faces. I sneered. Even a poor lower-class person like me can enter the bidding meeting. What is the former young master Julian doing? Oh, you can't even enter the meeting room door. Only barking incompetently here. Julian, you should look at yourself. Without Serena, what have you become? After speaking, I turned and entered the meeting room. Didn't Julian hate me, this lower-class person, the most? I had to let him see with his own eyes exactly to what extent I, this lower-class person, could go. The bidding meeting was announced to officially begin. Julian stood persistently outside the door, refusing to leave. He probably wanted to see if our company could win the bid successfully. He didn't know. The development momentum of Lucas's company was very good. As early as a month ago, we had contacted Party privately. For this bidding meeting, our company's probability of winning was already high. Coming here was just a formality plus exchanging experience. An hour later, the bidding meeting ended smoothly. The host announced on the spot, "Congratulations to Lin Sheng Company for winning the bid. Notification letter will be issued shortly." Not only that, President Zhao of Reiho also found me after the meeting, attitude very cordial. "Lucas introduced you to me. Regarding semiconductor material design, I have a project recently. Wonder if Mr. Hayes is interested." He smiled and threw an olive branch. Chloe's eyes lit up, looking at me expectantly. Reiho was very strong, considered an established company in the semiconductor industry, and had some government connections. The only thing lacking was grasping market trends and material innovation. And this was our strength. This was a good opportunity. Seeing the venomous eyes of Julian at the side, I smiled at him playfully, calmly accepted President Zhao's invitation, and agreed to have dinner together tonight. Julian's expression went a bit pale. The smoother I was, the more lonely it made him look. Right, in business, cooperation seeks value exchange. Julian had average ability and not much capital. Coming up empty-handed asking for cooperation, which boss would buy it? They weren't Serena, willing to shell out real money just on that bit of half-true sentiment. Looking at Julian's dark gaze, I waved to Chloe and went out satisfied. That night, President Zhao of Reiho and I chatted enthusiastically. They had resources, connections. We had innovation. After I elaborated on Lin Sheng's business philosophy and future development plans, President Zhao's eyes were glowing. They were a traditional company. Although rich in resources, the semiconductor industry transforms quickly. Without foresight or lacking innovation, it's easy to be left behind by the market. And Lin Sheng, gathering many young talents, lacked passion and innovation least of all. The two sides clicked immediately, deciding to launch in-depth cooperation on the summit project. Lucas was happy enough to send me a big red packet after knowing this, directly handing the project leader position to me. I knew long ago, with your grades in school back then, doing a career would definitely work. Yet you were a love brain, delayed by Serena for so many years. Yes, my grades back then were very good. In school, I participated in several global large projects. Otherwise, the Sterling family wouldn't have been willing for me to be with Serena. At that time, the advisor said with my strength, go to the most advanced semiconductor program abroad for grad school, then returning to develop, bringing advanced technology back to the country was the best path. It was me being disappointing. At that time, my brain only had the small family of me and Serena, wasting so many years for nothing. I loved too blindly, so much that I lifted Serena too high and put myself too low. That brewed the bitter fruit. Never again. Luckily, starting now wasn't too late. I was only 29. Even if I lost completely in marriage, life still had a lot of time left. I was willing to fight again in my career, try once more. After returning from San Diego, I threw myself into work. The Summit project had huge investment and official endorsement. If we could really make it, Lin Sheng's name, or along with my name as the person in charge, could occupy a place in the semiconductor industry. Thinking of this, my heart was hot. I worked even more carefully, often working overtime all night. One noon, I was in a meeting inside. Coming out, I saw 2 missed calls from my hometown on my phone. When I called back, the sounder was very noisy. Mom, you guys came to New York? Train station, right? Stand there and don't move. I'm coming right away. Parents suddenly came to New York and got lost in the train station. They were old. The train station was a place with many people and cars. Afraid something would happen, I hurriedly told Lucas and rushed to the station anxiously. I confirmed with the old couple. They were at exit B4. But after rushing over, I searched several times but didn't see anyone. The phone couldn't get through either. Recent frequent social news crossed my mind. I broke out in a cold sweat from anxiety. Even thinking about calling the police, but not exceeding 24 hours, the police probably couldn't file a case. Thinking of a mess of things, finally I actually found them in the coffee shop at the exit and with Serena. It should be Serena who brought the old couple over. Now, the 3 were sitting together laughing and talking, looking very lively. Only me, searching outside like a fool covered in sweat. Thinking of this, I ran over anxiously and angrily. If you changed location, you should have told me. I searched outside for a long time. Serena looked up at me, her face somewhat lonely. I brought Mom and Dad over. They called me. I thought you were busy with work too. They might be scared waiting here alone. So I came. She pulled my cuff. Did I cause you trouble? I pulled back, nodding. Of course. Before, you never actively picked up my parents. More than never actively picked up. I was a small-town test taker from a rural area in the Midwest. Parents usually did some small business selling braised dishes, putting me through college meal by meal. First time going home with me. Serena smiled sweetly on the surface, but behind the scenes criticized my home as worthless. Is this braised chicken clean? I feel like they use sick chickens. The color isn't right. Can you ask your mom not to touch me? She smells of dead fish. They even gave me $2,000 as a meeting gift. Huh, well my belts isn't even worth $2,000. So shabby. Of course, my cold face was too obvious then. Based on our acceptable relationship at the time, Serena reluctantly stayed for 2 days. After marriage too, she only cared about the 2 elders verbally, but never agreed to let them stay at home, afraid that dust from the Midwest would stain her carefully bought high-end sofa. But such a Serena actually actively came to pick up my parents now. What did she want to do? I looked at Serena suspiciously. Detecting my gaze, her expression became even more lonely. Mom sighed and pulled me. Serena came to pick us up out of kindness. Why are you scolding her? No manners. Dad also chimed in. Exactly. Wiser for pampering. If you're like this, be careful Serena really ignores you in the future. You'll regret it then. Their minds were simple. They never detected Serena's dislike for them. Plus, I always reported good news and not bad. Until now, they didn't know Leo had passed away, nor were they clear about Serena and Julian's affairs. Hearing parents' words, Serena looked up at me carefully. I know I was wrong. This time it was an emergency. Next time I will definitely tell you in advance. Mom and Dad are tired from coming from the Midwest. Let's take them home first, okay? Serena set her stance extremely low. Even my mom couldn't stand it. Such a small matter, not worth outlining. I say Serena is a good daughter-in-law. Busy with work, but coming to pick us up without a word. Relying on you. Your dad and I would have waited until dark. She was a careful and considerate mother-in-law, always feeling Serena marrying me was wronging herself, so she always stood on Serena's side. I looked at the nervous Serena. Not wanting to quarrel with her outside, I nodded in agreement, preparing to take parents back. Serena's eyes lit up. She ran ahead to open the door and followed behind, helping parents move luggage. Busying herself before and after, getting a heap of praise again. Parents brought a lot of local specialties and food from hometown, even a Stitch toy hand-sewn for Leo, just waiting to see the child to give it to him. While driving, I couldn't help sighing, not knowing how to tell them about family matters. Parents were old and had high blood pressure. Regarding Leo's death, I was afraid they couldn't bear it. I thought deeply, not even noticing Serena followed into the car. Arriving home, Serena enthusiastically helped move things in and ran around serving tea and water to parents. But the old couple noticed the emptiness of the living room at a glance and asked me about Leo's whereabouts. Today is Saturday. Is the child not out of school yet? The Stitch Leo likes, your dad and I made it by hand. Let him come quickly. Leo will definitely be happy seeing it. The air became stagnant. Serena and I looked at each other, neither knowing how to speak. Parents looked at me doubtfully, slowly realizing something was wrong. Even if I kept Leo's things, the fact that there was no child at home was very obvious. The living room was too empty. The entrance didn't even have the slippers the child usually used. Mom scanned the living room, her eyes fixing on Leo's memorial photo in the center. She was somewhat in disbelief, but still stammeringly asked me for verification. I ask you, where is Leo? Did he go out to play? She forcibly shifted her gaze, finding a suitable reason for Leo's absence. But I couldn't lie to them anymore, nor could I continue lying. Leo is gone. Brain cancer, sudden attack. In the hospital for 12 days, and he was gone. I didn't react at that time, and didn't want to worry you. Before I finished, Mom cried and threw herself on me, hitting and beating me. But you can't not tell us. That was our family's only child. Didn't even pass his 5th birthday. How could you bear not letting us see the child one last time? Our Leo was usually the most well-behaved. He could recognize Grandma at 2 or 3. Just gone like this. Ethan, how did you take care of him? Facing Mom's questioning, I couldn't say a word. Yes, Leo was so small, smart, and obedient. How could he suddenly be gone? I didn't want parents to worry back then, plus it happened suddenly, so I didn't tell them. But now Mom was crying with a face full of tears. I seemed to have done wrong again. Regarding Leo's matter, I was always wrong. Dad touched the sewn Stitch doll, crying silently. As if just realizing the news of her son's death, Serena stared blankly at Leo's memorial photo in the center of the hall. Suddenly she choked up, rushed over, and knelt down to my parents. Leo's matter is my fault. Mom, it was me who didn't take good care of Leo, didn't fulfill a mother's responsibility. But don't worry, never again. None of us wanted Leo's matter to be like this. Don't blame Ethan. He values feelings most. He was the saddest about Leo's matter. At that time Leo left, Ethan wished to leave with him, scaring me half to death. I can still give birth. Mom, let me try hard to have another child, okay? I can give birth to another Leo. I beg you don't be like this. We are a family. We have to live on. Serena threw herself on Mom's lap, crying snot and tears. She spoke with real feeling, as if she really was a pitiful mother distressed for her child. Get up quickly. Look at you crying. This matter doesn't blame you. I know your meaning, but I just can't bear to part with Leo. He was so good, raised so big with difficulty. Saying that, Mom wiped her tears again. She helped Serena up, touched her face lovingly, and the two cried together. From my angle, Serena cried with real emotion, not faking it. From her running to the train station to pick up my parents all day today, being considerate all the way, to kneeling and admitting mistakes now. I could see she really knew she was wrong and really wanted to salvage our marriage. But Leo's matter lay across us. This experience was too tragic and painful. I dared not forgive her. I didn't even want to see her. As long as I saw Serena, I could remember Leo's tearful eyes back then. Hearing the news of Mom cheating and leaving him before surgery, how despairing must Leo have been at that time? Serena cried and said to parents, I know Leo took my surname before because Mom and Dad were reasonable. I also remember your kindness. Ethan and I are still young. As long as he is willing, we will have children again. Maybe it's Leo reincarnated. I couldn't help sneering in the back. Even if Leo reincarnated, how would he want a mother like her? Serena was too confident in herself. In front of parents, I confessed expressionlessly, Serena and I divorced. Going through the process now. We can't have children again. Leo wouldn't want a mother like her either. Mom turned to look at me, fingers trembling incessantly. What do you mean? You want a divorce? You intend to anger me to death. Leo just left and you want a divorce. What do you want to do? Serena anxiously went up to comfort, constantly soothing my mom. Mom, it's all my fault. Before it was me who was bad. Don't be angry. Don't blame Ethan. Ethan, come quickly to persuade Mom. Those were words of anger, right? The more she was like this, the more Mom felt she was reasonable, scolding me severely. I stiffened my face, refusing to soften. The house was in chaos with noise. Tossing until late at night, the old couple rested under Serena's care. Serena greeted me to leave. Mom and Dad have rested. You sleep soon, too. I'll come over tomorrow morning to take care of Mom and Dad. I turned to look at Serena, eyes devoid of emotion. Not getting a satisfactory answer, Dad stretched his neck and coughed for a long time, as if about to cough out his lungs. I knew. It wasn't that they didn't know Serena did wrong. It was just that the older generation's values followed, rather tear down 10 temples than destroy a marriage. They felt Serena didn't commit a substantial act of cheating, only classifying her behavior as careless or lacking propriety. Naturally, they couldn't accept me divorcing her because of this. Moreover, recently Serena's performance was impeccable. Leo was no longer by my side. Parents were my only relatives. They were old. How could I bear to make them worry like this? Moreover, Dad was seriously ill now. Passing it through my brain slightly, I nodded in agreement. Even if I do better, am willing to pay more, you refuse to look back. Ethan, I don't want to divorce you, nor do I want to leave our home. I was too willful before. Mom and Dad treated me so well. You treated me well too. I thought these things would always be by my side. It's not that I didn't think about separating, but when you went out with that colleague, I had insomnia all night. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't accept you holding someone else's hand. Ethan, don't reject me. I can't live that kind of life. She cried, trembling all over. But my heart was calm. You're tired? Go back first. I won't. Serena wiped the tears on her face indiscriminately, walked over, and looked up at me. Ethan, is there no possibility at all for me? I pointed at Leo's photo in the living room, signaling her to look. Do you know what Leo was thinking in those days he was sick? He asked me why you didn't go see him. Realizing what I was going to say, Serena shook her head, panic-stricken. I didn't mean to at that time. I stared at her face, word by word. You didn't come? I could only lie to him. Wait until he leaves the hospital. Mommy will buy him Stitch. Every time Leo wanted to see you, but you were busy fooling around with Julian, I would send him a Stitch in your name. Too many times, Stitches piled up a full room. You still didn't come home. Serena retreated trembling. But I made up my mind to let her know what she did before. So I pulled her to look at the doll's parents left. Even my parents knew Leo liked Stitch best. What do you know? How much do you know Leo? Serena's lips trembled, 2 lines of hot tears flowing down her face. It was me who did wrong. I wasn't clear about these. I sneered. Of course you weren't clear. Apart from Julian's matters, how much do you know about his father and son? Do you know why Leo likes Stitch? Because Stitch longs for family. Leo also longed for a mother. He longed for mother's love. Serena, what were you doing at that time? Are you worthy of Leo? We have no possibility, unless Leo comes back to life. After speaking, I turned and went straight to the second floor, leaving Serena crying in the living room until she trembled all over. But Serena suddenly rushed from behind to hug my waist, tears rubbing on my back, a patch of scalding heat. Not getting a satisfactory answer, Dad stretched his neck and coughed for a long time, as if about to cough out his lungs. Finishing speaking, I turned to go upstairs. That day, Serena called me anxiously. Dad's high blood pressure acted up. Come to the hospital quickly. Hearing this, my brain buzzed. Driving, I rushed to the hospital. Dad had underlying conditions. Before, he was hospitalized for high blood pressure. The time his blood pressure went up to over 200, sent to the hospital, he almost didn't make it. The doctor said high blood pressure could be fatal if serious. Scared until my spine was cold, I rushed to the hospital in a panic. Dad lay on the hospital bed, wearing a ventilator, looking pale. In this very hospital, Leo was also like this, lying pale on the bed, gone in a few days. Thinking of the scene, sending Leo away, I was scared until my breath caught, my chest almost transmitting suffocating pain. It was Serena who ran and holding the bill, hurriedly supporting my arm. Ethan, Dad is fine. Just brief hypoxia. Take a deep breath. Don't be scared. After she finished saying this, I unconsciously let out a long breath, relaxing all over. Just lost Leo. I really didn't dare think. What if something happened to Dad? What should I do? Serena smoothed my chest, helping me sit by the bed. Just then, my dad opened his eyes, tremblingly, his old, withered gaze slowly looking at me. Seeing you start a family and career, a happy family, is a blessing. Thanks to Serena being here this time. Otherwise, I would have died on the road. I hurriedly stopped him. What are you saying? This is an accident. You will definitely be full of blessings in the future. Exactly. Your dad and I are old. How long can we accompany you? Serena is someone who knows cold and hot. With her by your side, we are also assured. Just then, my mom also walked over, stacking mine and Serena's hands together, saying, not getting a satisfactory answer, Dad stretched his neck and coughed for a long time, as if about to cough out his lungs. We are old. Can't manage you anymore. But just for the sake of us old couple, can't you give Serena a chance and give yourself a chance? He looked at me eagerly. Mom beside him also had tears in her eyes. I nodded in agreement. Serena's eyes lit up. She ran ahead to open the door and followed behind, helping parents move luggage. Not getting a satisfactory answer, Dad stretched his neck and coughed for a long time, as if about to cough out his lungs. Even if I do better, am willing to pay more, you refuse to look back. Ethan, I don't want to divorce you, nor do I want to leave our home. I turned to look at Serena, eyes devoid of emotion. Finishing speaking, I turned to go upstairs, but Serena bypassed me to contact parents directly. I warned her not to do this, but she bypassed me to contact parents directly. The old couple was also willing to go out with her. Having no way, I let her be. With Serena's company, parents became much happier, gradually walking out of the gloom of losing Leo. Serena explained the past events to parents, confessing it was all her fault. Perhaps her attitude of admitting mistakes was good, or perhaps parents simply didn't want me to divorce. In short, under Serena's persistent pleasing, they forgave her, even turning around to persuade me to look back. Serena didn't mean it. She was just deceived by her childhood friend. Moreover, Leo had a serious illness, a terminal illness. Even if he didn't quarrel back then, Leo might not necessarily be cured. Ethan, Mom knows you feel bad inside, but life has to look forward. Without Leo, you will have other children. I knew parents' meaning and knew life had to go on. But Leo was gone. Leo was the child I raised bit by bit. In my arms from 6 pounds growing to a meter high. He would call me Daddy sweetly, bring me small desserts distributed by the kindergarten. Such a child, ignored by his biological mother, treated coldly, finally dragged into the mother's cheating incident and died of an attack. I walked out. What about Leo? He would slowly become a forgotten member of this family. No one remembering his appearance, no one caring about his pain. That was the child I raised with my own hands. How could I bear it? Whether me or Serena, no one was qualified to walk out. For me, reconciling sweetly with Serena, or giving birth to another child for a happy family reunion, it was undoubtedly a betrayal of Leo. I would absolutely not do it. Facing parents' overt and covert matchmaking, I firmly refused them. Just try to free up time to devote to work. The Summit project was operating well. After the official resources were cleared, the chips operated by Summit had been put into mass production. The chips we produced consumed less energy than traditional chips on the market today, and were cheaper than imported chips. Placed in the sales market, the advantage was huge. Lucas's family did e-commerce, adding fuel to the fire. Online and offline orders filled up quickly. Not considering customer feedback and return rates later, just based on Summit's current situation, Lin Xing definitely had a place in the semiconductor industry. Of course, my name also appeared on it. Only this time, the prefix they gave me was no longer Serena's husband, but the person in charge of the explosive Summit project. Now when I went out, no one said I was some freeloader or CEO Sterling's nanny husband. Instead, they respectfully addressed me as President Hayes. Even Serena's mother, knowing Summit was done by me, sent messages overtly and covertly asking when I had time to meet. The running rule of wealthy families is just this: never valuing feelings. Only profit can move hearts. Before I was a house husband, everyone could call me a freeloader. Now that Summit emerged out of nowhere, they offered olive branches one after another, seeking cooperation. The warmth and coldness of human relationships is nothing more than this. I only knew this principle now. Thinking about it now, I really felt unworthy for my former self. Might as well have focused on work from the start. I wouldn't have been looked down upon so naturally. As Summit exploded, my work became busier. Parents couldn't persuade me, so they could only watch me busy nonstop every day, rarely even seeing their faces. After all, they were old, waking early and sleeping early. I was a night owl, often working late. Active times were different. Sometimes we didn't see each other once a day. I thought days would develop without waves like this. But that day Serena called me anxiously. Dad's high blood pressure acted up. Come to the hospital quickly. I stiffened my face, refusing to soften. We are old. Can't manage you anymore. But just for the sake of us old couple, can't you give Serena a chance and give yourself a chance? Serena was visibly happy. She performed even better, actively suggesting outside food wasn't nutritious, wanting to cook herself to bring to them. Later, she even started specifically learning some nourishing soups, delivering them to the hospital and my workstation on time every day. One had to know, these were treatments only Julian had before. Since marrying Serena, I hadn't let her enter the kitchen once, touch oil smoke once. 3 meals a day were matched well by me and delivered to her. Sometimes working hard for an hour or two, Serena said work was busy and would bring it back untouched or dump it directly. Just such a Serena, actually caught by me cooking personally for Julian. Because of this, we erupted into a fierce quarrel. Serena even said I was making trouble out of nothing. Julian is sick. He has no relatives in the country. Isn't it normal for me to take care of him more? If you really want to help me, cook soup and deliver it to Julian for me. If you can't help, shut up. What man is like you, chattering and clinging to me, being jealous all day? Do you have any serious business? Can you stop pestering me every day? Get out. The disdain and disgust in her eyes then were fresh in my memory till now. My wife, a rich young lady who never touched spring water with her fingers, righteously enjoyed my contribution, then turned around to take care of Julian, even feeding rice in her childhood friend's mouth personally. How could the previous me not be jealous, not mind? They were so intimate. I didn't believe Serena only had simple care or pity for him. Serena was an entrepreneur, the type who wouldn't get up early without profit. Yet she was willing to invest so much money for Julian, not taking it back even now. Things she couldn't do for me, she was willing to pay for Julian. Saying they had no relationship was impossible. Just cheating under the name of taking care of a childhood friend. Not just cheating, but killing Leo too. Now, realizing suddenly, chasing my parents to apologize and want to turn back, how could it be so easy? Thinking of this, my gaze gradually turned cold. During this time, Serena performed very well, especially saving my dad. The old couple was on the same front as her now. No matter what I said, it was useless. Since it was so, I could only think of a way to make her give up voluntarily. Regarding Julian, the private investigator had already contacted the victim's family from back then. I asked him to help me make an appointment with them. I wanted to know, what exactly did Julian do back then to drive a perfectly fine senior girl to jump off a building? And did Serena know the inside story back then? The middle-aged man in front of me looked only about 50, but his hair was already completely white. Hearing my purpose clearly, his voice choked. It was Julian Ford who bullied my daughter, failed to pursue her, so he had people strip her clothes and took photos. My daughter was only 17. How could she stand such grievance? She couldn't think straight, so she jumped. The school refused to hand over the surveillance video of the incident. The Ford family used our family's safety to threaten us not to call the police. So when my daughter left, she still had to bear a bad name. People saying she wanted to marry into a rich family. Actually, it wasn't like that at all. My daughter had good grades, was a girl with backbone. Blame me, this useless father. Speaking, hot tears welled up in his eyes. He looked at me eagerly. Can you really help us uphold justice? Looking at the haggard old man in front of me, I felt extremely ironic in my heart. What a high and mighty young Master Ford. What an arrogant and vicious privileged class. So the truth back then was like this. Just because courtship failed, Julian could be so cruel to hurt an innocent girl, even driving her to jump. Clearly, that girl was about to take the college entrance exam too. Same age as us, yet died a month before the exam. How much hate and bitterness was in her heart. When Julian was carefree abroad, did he ever think he had a wrongful death on his back? When this happened back then, I asked Serena if she knew the inside story. She only said coldly, "How would I know? Julian doesn't tell me everything. But this girl's family is very poor. Without grievances, Julian couldn't have harmed her." This sounded fine at first glance, but looking carefully, it was speaking for Julian. Later, the Sterling family helped suppress the rumors in school. Did Serena at that time know clearly about Julian's character? I pondered in my heart, couldn't help smiling bitterly. If Serena knew and still chose to help him, wouldn't it prove Serena was the same kind of person as him? If she didn't know, yet chose to help him without understanding the situation, didn't it also prove Serena lacked a sense of right and wrong, and had a close relationship with Julian? Thinking back and forth, the relationship between these two was unusual. Serena was indeed not a good person either. Fortunately, I was never confused by Serena's facade, firmly choosing divorce from the start. Julian dared to treat classmates like this, dared to treat Leo like that, only relying on his family background, relying on Serena's protection to be unscrupulous. Since it was so, I was very curious. If he lost all this, could Julian maintain the dignity of his privileged class? The next day, An interview video suddenly circulated online. The middle-aged man inside claimed his daughter was bullied to death, but pressure from both the school and the perpetrator caused the truth to be buried underground. Even when the victim died, dirty water was thrown on her, yellow rumors created. As soon as the video came out, it immediately attracted attention from many parties. Even several headline influencers actively reposted it. The heat climbed very fast. Bullying incidents have been repeatedly prohibited over the years, already having high heat. Plus, this video involved schools and certain rich and powerful people. It was easy for people to imagine what shady curtains were inside. The incident became noisier and hotter. Many insiders from back then popped up, pointing fingers directly at a certain rich second generation named Ford who suddenly went abroad to study. Many people knew about this back then. It was just the Ford family was big then and suppressed the news. Now people left and tea cooled. Julian's information was easily dug out. There was even a discussion wave online about the truth of Julian studying abroad. But all this had nothing to do with our family. The house was rarely peaceful during this time. Dad was well taken care of in the hospital. Especially with Serena accompanying them often, the old couple smiled more. On the day of discharge, Serena said she wanted to hold a grand banquet to celebrate Dad's discharge, and the whole family must attend. I knew she also intended to break the rumors of our divorce through this. With the explosion of the Summit project, Lin Sheng became the hottest company in the semiconductor industry now. Along with it, my name was mentioned repeatedly. Knowing I had divorced Serena, many partners began to play matchmaker for me. Caught on the spot by Serena a few days ago. At that time, she smiled reluctantly and didn't say anything. Turning around, she planned to hold a banquet in the name of family. I knew what idea she was playing. Looking at Serena's shining eyes, I had no emotion at the bottom of my heart. But no matter what, as long as parents liked it, holding this banquet wasn't impossible. Serena was surprisingly happy. From booking the venue to handwriting invitations, she didn't use anyone else's hands. In her words, this was the beginning of her new life. Naturally, she had to put more heart into it. I watched coldly as she prepared happily, inviting many New York elites and specially noted parents' names. The scene was bigger than when we got married. Married so long, the Sterling family had never admitted my parents were their in-laws. At first, when getting married, Dad had a hypertension attack and Mom stayed in the hospital. Serena suggested not letting them come to my wedding ceremony first, to avoid the fatigue of travel. Thinking about it, it made sense, so I agreed. Later, when Leo was born and parents came to New York, Serena pushed saying no time, never formally introducing their existence to the outside. The two families hadn't even formally sat down to eat once. I always thought this was just coincidence. Until later arguing because of Julian, I understood the reason behind it. What circle is our family? What circle are your parents? A bunch of rural people coming over making noise, embarrassing me enough. My mom is already unsatisfied enough with you. Can you not drag those two hillbillies to New York? What benefit do you have making me lose face? She actually thought of my parents like this. The disgust and disdain in her words couldn't be hidden. Since it was so, why choose to marry me back then? Serena, this person was also laughable. Willing to marry me, but looking down on my family. After marrying me, couldn't let go of the sick childhood friend returning to the country. Now, realizing suddenly, turning immediately to be considerate to two old people, saying she wanted to restart life properly. Face changed faster than flipping a book. Honestly, I saw her sincerity, but the more she did, the more vigilant I felt, because I didn't want to walk the return path. I knew Serena's character of loving to life and hating to death. Having been treated like that, paying such a painful price, I simply didn't dare gamble on Serena's feelings. Parents always said things were past. Our family had to look forward. But what if Serena offended again? If she offended again, the intimate family now would collapse like loose sand immediately. Could I bear it? Could parents bear it? Since it was so, might as well take advantage of the many people at the banquet to make it clear once and for all. The rights and wrongs of the past naturally have a conclusion. Serena was indeed serious about this banquet. She directly booked the top floor of the hotel lavishly and hired a professional service team for planning and design. Recently, she didn't go to the company, concentrating on decorating the hotel and inviting guests. She even found time to take parents shopping, making up for the Father's Day and Mother's Day gifts absent in previous years. Many people saw the family of three shopping affectionately outside. News that we didn't divorce or had reconciled spread everywhere. Serena intentionally let it be. I watched coldly. The matter spread fiercer and fiercer. Even Lucas heard of it. That day in the company meeting room, Lucas leaned over asking, "No way, You really reconciled with Serena? I replied nonchalantly. How is it possible? You know about Leo's matter. Lucas nodded. True. Given your character, impossible to eat recycled grass. Wait, then why were you willing to hold the banquet? I looked at him, smiling lightly. That's of course because there are guests I want to invite. I wonder why Julian was so well-behaved recently. Turns out Serena had deliberately avoided Julian for a long time. Contact methods all blocked, address not revealed. Julian couldn't contact her even if he wanted help. 2 days ago, he called my number. Did you tell Serena not to contact me? I haven't contacted her for a long time. You clearly know she doesn't love you at all. At that time, Julian's stepmother had already brought the child to sponge off him at his house. Plus the influence of online public opinion, the barely supported company directly declared bankruptcy. This wasn't the end. Julian owed the bank a large sum of money. Now that the company was gone, he was driven crazy. Especially when he was abroad, he contracted some bad things. Without money, Julian could barely move a step, so he was more desperate to find Serena for help. After all, this was the only life-saving straw willing to extend a hand when he was in trouble for so many years. How could Julian bear to give up? He couldn't contact Serena, couldn't find anyone. I was a warm-hearted person. Might as well provide him an opportunity to help. But I was really a bit curious. Julian contacting Serena at this time, was it because of so-called love? Or because of money? Believe it or not, I didn't make her block your number, never stopped her from finding you. She did this voluntarily. You lie. Julian roared on that end, voice revealing paranoid madness. Don't think I don't know. You already divorced. Why are you still pestering her? During this time, she refused to see me. Even if I blocked the company downstairs, she just let security drag me out. Who else but you could it be? Your career is successful now. Everyone says you are young and promising. I have nothing. Why do you compete with me for her? After speaking, he threatened fiercely. Serena is mine. And she always hated you. Back then, she admitted to me, personally, she regretted it after giving birth. She hated your looks circling around the family most, like a nanny. I chuckled here, but she is busy before and after now, wishing to be a nanny taking care of our family. Julian, you're already a defeated opponent. Whether Serena or career completely failed. What are you shouting for? Believe it or not, I can send you to jail relying on past events. Recently, our family has a happy event. I don't want to run into annoying people. If you know what's good for you, roll far away. I'm afraid of being smoked by the poverty on you. Disgusting. These words were what Julian said to me back then. Now roles swapped. I returned these words intact. The breathing on the other end of the phone became heavier. It should be Julian also thought of this point. You, don't be smug. Serena can't ignore me. Confirming he was furious, I hung up directly. Turning around, I let the private investigator reveal the time and location of the banquet. Such a big occasion, Julian had to come. If he didn't come, this play couldn't go on. Serena's mother changed her expression, wanting to stop Serena from going out, but failed. Serena always had an inexplicable softness towards Julian, an inexplicable lack of bottom line. I knew this better than her. After all, even Leo's death couldn't stop her from finding Julian, let alone us living people. My gaze gradually turned cold, watching coldly as everyone in the hall discussed this matter. Especially today, Serena organized a big scene. Several media outlets were on site. I already had a premonition these messy things tonight would appear on news headlines tomorrow morning. Serena, she just left with a man like this? Mom asked with a pale face. I stared in the direction Serena left, speechless for a moment. Parents stood persistently at the banquet site. No matter how Serena's mother comforted, they refused to go back. They wanted to see with their own eyes, see if Serena would, as she said, come back after sending Julian to the hospital. Even having seen the legendary Julian personally, they still held illusions about Serena. But no, they were destined to be disappointed. Serena didn't come back. Instead, Lucas walked in with an ugly face, bringing explosive news. Julian's stepmother called the police. Real name reported Julian for drug use. The asthma medical record is fake. His respiratory problems are side effects of drug use. Julian's addiction has acted up. He is very dangerous now. These words were spoken in front of everyone. The hall was in an uproar. Tonight, the Sterling family's gossip came wave after wave. I noticed someone secretly turned on their phone to record. Serena's mother changed color. Then what about Serena? Serena is with him. She anxiously took out her phone to dial, then muttered with a pale face. Phone won't connect. I can't find her. Right, just now that man might be lying to Serena. Serena was deceived by him. Ethan, think of a way to find her. Mom looked at me urgently. Even at this moment, Her first concern was Serena's safety. I looked at her anxious expression, weighing silently in my heart. Time was too short. Even calling the police now, the police couldn't mobilize immediately. Serena being with Julian, who had an addiction attack, was indeed dangerous. Julian is about to have an addiction attack, yet Serena is willing to help him. Does she know Julian got hooked on drugs? Who knows? But she could abandon her own child. She's not anything good either. Whatever it is, find the person first. It's very dangerous for her to be alone with Julian like this. Listening to the gossip in the hall, Serena's mother's face became uglier. I looked at Lucas, then slapped my forehead saying, "Did she drive her own car away? My phone has real-time location. Let's go find her." As soon as the voice fell, a group of people went out mightily. The location on Serena's car was shared with me. This was actively requested by her when she took parents out before, saying it was to make me rest assured about her taking elders out. Unexpectedly used at this moment. The location displayed above now was at a hotel. Lucas winked at me, running ahead in a flash. Let's go find her quickly. Serena being with Julian is very dangerous. His addiction acted up. Who knows if he will kidnap Serena or do something? Hearing his words, we became more urgent, following without thinking much. Someone even actively called the police in the name of reporting drug use. Arriving at the hotel door, hearing us say someone was using drugs, the waiter hurriedly took out the room card. Arriving at the door, Serena's mother's eyes flickered wanting to stop it, but the door was already opened by Lucas. He led us rushing in violently, then saw the entangled figures on the big bed in the hotel. Serena was curled up beside Julian, her face showing a tranquil expression. "Julian, you are right. The person I love is clearly you." The next moment, seeing Lucas's face, she screamed in fright. Behind, Serena's mother's face went completely dark. That night, the Sterling family was in complete chaos. News of Serena going out to open a room with Julian, then being caught in bed on the spot spread everywhere. Police arrived afterward, really finding drugs in Julian's urine test. Julian and Serena, one counted as one, were all taken into the police station. In the interrogation room, Serena cried snot and tears, saying she was drugged by Julian and was unconscious. But her drug test was fine. Before, she wired money to Julian many times. She said she didn't know Julian used drugs, said she was innocent from start to finish. Who believed it? Crying wolf so many times. Now Serena's words were believed by no one. Even Lucas and I didn't expect it. We originally only planned to lure Julian over, make parents give up, and accept my divorce. Unexpectedly, Serena could give such a big surprise, actually really rolling together with Julian. She was always exceptionally tolerant to Julian, exceptionally without bottom line. So this time, even if really drugged, really didn't know Julian used drugs, no one would believe it. Parents were completely disappointed in Serena, especially knowing Julian looked for Leo, yet Serena still chose to help him. Regardless if she knew or not, Julian was like that, yet Serena was still willing to help him. Enough to prove their feelings are unusual. Son, this time parents won't stop you. It's Serena who has no vision, her who wronged you, and Leo. We want to divorce her. Finally got the desired result. I let out a long breath, saying gently to parents, already filed the lawsuit. The judgment should come down in 2 days. The video of Serena's accident that night was posted online, along with Julian's jumping case trending. Unexpectedly, the former campus bullying protagonist had such explosive new gossip. Online attention to this matter was very high. Netizens even gave them nicknames, Junkie Bro and Cheating Sis. Serena this time was really pitted miserably by Julian. No matter how Sterling Corp did par, it was useless. After all, every time she went out with Julian, it was Serena's voluntary act. No one forced her to help Julian. No one forced her to be soft-hearted to Julian. Just that night, there were no less than 10 people who photographed her actively taking Julian out. Saying she was completely innocent, ghosts wouldn't believe it. This matter was very hot. Even Sterling Corp's stock price was affected. A person like Julian, anyone could see his clumsy acting, but Serena insisted on helping him again and again. Now posted online for ridicule. Could such a person really manage a company well? The board of directors fluctuated constantly. When news of Serena's first trial judgment came, they directly removed Serena's general manager position. Even the shares in Serena's mother's hands were affected. The court kept notifying Serena to go, but she refused to cooperate. Whenever I called, it was just crying. Ethan, I swear Julian and I were just friends. Especially now, he lied to me. He deliberately lied to me, boo-hoo. Ethan, I was deceived by him. His asthma is fake. He has been using drugs. The previous medical records were forged. Respiratory problems were caused by drug use. He lied to me from start to finish. Ethan, I'm also a victim. I was deceived so miserably. He told me that girl failed to pursue him, so she jumped. Actually, he forced her. Ethan, I'm also a victim. I was deceived so miserably. I thought sending him to the hospital would be fine, but he dragged me and insisted I accompany him all night. I really was unconscious. I don't know what Julian sprayed on me, but no matter what I say, they don't believe it. He did it on purpose. He was crazy for money. Luring me to bed that night was just to take my nude photos to threaten me for money. Didn't expect you guys to come. I was harmed by him. Ethan, I can apologize publicly. I don't want to divorce you. You saw how I did during this time, right? I really want to live a good life with you. She cried on the other end until she couldn't stop trembling, as if she would faint the next second. I paused, reminding her. But you chose to go out with Julian is also true. Every time you helped Julian, it was voluntary. Hearing this, that end paused. Serena cried brokenly, but my heart had no waves. How dangerous Julian was, of course I knew. I just didn't expect Serena actually still entangled with him. Walking to this step, wasn't it Serena's own choice? Netizens were right. Everyone has to bear responsibility for their choices, including Serena. It was her endless help to Julian, lack of boundaries, that brewed such evil consequences. To put it ugly, Julian's appetite was also fed big by her. Until the end, Serena still escaped attendance. I divorced directly through litigation. This time even parents didn't say anything. Lucas and the others were happy to see it happen, shouting, "Serve her right." The day I went to get the divorce judgment happened to be the day Serena went to prison. Because Julian had used drugs by her side, Serena was sentenced to 2 years for harboring drug users. Her future was ruined. But all this, what did it have to do with me? Facing the brilliant sunlight outside the court, I took the divorce judgment and left by car. The breeze brushed my cheek like a child's small hand brushing past. Maybe it was Leo. Daddy finally avenged him. Story complete part 2. Mandatory separators.